Hello and welcome to Taunton under beautiful blue skies this Friday evening. A bit of an unusual match here for Somerset. It's not a group game in the T20 Blast, although there are a lot of Blast matches going on tonight. Somerset not involved in that, but they're taking on a Sri Lankan development side who have been in England for the last couple of weeks, playing a few county sides as and when they've had time. Had a few Red Bull games, and tonight a T20 as well. I'm joined alongside me with Harry Everett. Harry, it's good to have you alongside us on a beautiful night here in Somerset.
Yeah, stunning, isn't it? Friday evening under the lights, sunshine so far. We won't be needing the lights for a couple of hours at least, but yeah, it really is perfect cricket conditions. And it's been an interesting tour for the Sri Lankan development side, playing Surrey and Hampshire and Kent, some different names that we've not seen before. But we were mentioning earlier, weren't we? It's great to look back on these games in a couple of years' time. There might be one of these names that comes out of the Sri Lankan development side that they go and score however many thousand test runs or test wickets. We might find the new Malinga, we might find the new, I don't know, Sangakkara Jayawardene, which would be nice to see.
Absolutely. It's one of those days where you can quite rightly look back and say, oh, I saw you when you were 18 years old or whatever. So a lot of inexperienced Sri Lankan talent there, but looking forward to seeing how they do. But also the same could be said for Somerset. There'll be a few names here that haven't featured too much in first 11s for the county. I'll run you through what the Somerset side looks like. The openers, and it is going to be Somerset opening up with the bat tonight, are going to be Tom Banton and James Rue. Banton we know a fair bit about, but James Rue is someone who hasn't broken through really yet into the first 11. Harry, tell us about James. He's likely to be with the gloves, isn't he, when we come to field, but what's he going to be like with the bat?
Serious player, actually. There's a bit of talk about him potentially replacing Steve Davies in the county championship side. Tom Banton's not massively keen on keeping. James Rue's a keen gloveman, left-handed bat, small fella. He plays his cricket for Taunton St Andrews. I heard about it. He played a few club warm-up games, and he played against Heathcote, who won the Devon Premier League, and switch hit 8 sixes. So
wow,
that says something about the fellow. He's a young, inventive batter who hits the ball hard and clean. Yeah, very exciting talent.
So he's in the squad. Actually, one of the websites has him down as coming in at 3, and it will be Ben Green alongside Tom Banton. So Green and Banton, who played in that game against Kent. Somerset off the back of a really convincing victory there, which is great to see against the current champions, and also what has been a bit of a bogey side for Somerset over the last couple of seasons. Actually, in the group stage at least, Somerset have done very well. Do you think that will feed into this side? Obviously, there are a few players who were involved, but quite a few who weren't.
Yeah, I'm very impressed and quite positive to see such big names playing tonight. They could have had a night off. It was not optional. You know, we've got Paul Tweddle's going to be in charge tonight, and Tom Banton's chosen to have extra hitting time. We've got a few players on the fringe who are very keen to play, but Ben Green didn't have a bat on Wednesday night. Goldsworthy didn't have a bat, so it's great to see them come in and have an extra game, and strong side. Yeah,
so we just see the Somerset batters coming out of the Andy Caddick Pavilion on their way towards the ground. The Sri Lankan developmental 11, there won't be many names that will be recognisable to fans who keep up with things like Test cricket or ODIs and international T20s, but for sure some talent to look out for here. They've been playing, as we said, Surrey, Kent, Hampshire, sort of a tour of the south of England. Hasn't been much success in there for them, but this will be a valuable experience for these players.
Yeah, Darren Stevens got 150 plus against them, which 168 as a 46-year-old, but that doesn't say massive lot. They've used different players.
He can do that against the best as well.
Exactly, though. Yeah. So no, it's been interesting. They played Surrey most recently. They also playing Gloucestershire on Sunday at Bristol. That's the last game of this tour. So if this was before Wednesday, you'd probably see this as a perfect warm-up game. I guess the way the fixtures have worked, it's been a warm-up game for the other sides, but it's sort of one game, and it still can be warmer because we said not everyone batted, not everyone bowled on Wednesday.
And the reason Somerset were first up is because Kent, as champions, traditionally they start off the season the following year. So it just happened to be that Somerset were their opponents, as they were in the last game of the T20 season last year as well, in the final, which Somerset couldn't quite get over the line there, so finished runners-up. So actually Somerset will be very pleased with how they played there. We'll come on, we'll talk about some of those performances. Riley Rousseau and Tom Abel, neither of them involved tonight, but the two of them steering Somerset to what was pretty convincing. It was a last over finish, but actually with 8 wickets still in hand, Somerset will be very pleased with how they went against Kent. And what I thought as well, watching that game, was the bowling unit, I thought, looked really good as well. It clearly worked on some T20 skills over the winter. Anyway, enough about what happened on, was that Wednesday night? Because here on Friday, under some clear blue skies, lovely warm sunshine, bit of a breeze around, has to be said. I was out on my bike earlier on today, and you could really notice it when I was facing west. So plenty of breeze coming in from the west. But other than that, pretty beautiful night for some T20 cricket here, and it will be the Somerset batters who prepare to face the first ball.
And do remember, you can join in on the YouTube comments, on the Twitter. Great to hear people interacting. We've got Andy Yates who's watching from Mallorca. What a sight that'll be.
And Banton deciding to leave that one first up. Banton with his stance now leans quite far forwards as he waits for the ball to come. In red and white ball cricket, he's been doing that. So yeah, been a week of ups and downs, isn't it, for Somerset after that crushing defeat to Hampshire in red ball in the county championship here. That was the last time I was on air here. 69 all out. It was it was pretty horrible viewing for Somerset fans. So that game against Kent will have done them a world of good. No rush here. Tom Banton.
Interesting them starting with a deep square leg and a deep third man. So I guess it's fairly quick, right on pace to open up the innings. And yeah, Banton, I think I was listening to the commentary on Sky Sports on Wednesday night. It was interesting. I think Mark Butcher was saying how Banton's improved recently, giving himself those extra balls. You can be a very aggressive T20 opener without having to go from the very first ball. Give himself 2 or 3 balls and he can still capitalise on the power play.
Something that Josh Butler does really well, isn't it? Someone who's scored a century in the Eliminator today in the IPL. He's got Rajasthan Royals into the final.
Ridiculous, isn't it? Was he's 400.
Yeah, he's in incredible form. But when you watch him, and sometimes he does go from the off when he's in the mood. Yeah. I think you can see it in his eyes with Josh Butler when he's feeling that. But usually, just sort of sees himself in a little bit, and then the rate really increases. Certainly, that second 50 in his T20 hundreds is usually quite a bit quicker than that first one. Sweeper out there, so just the single, and Somerset are off the mark here, and it is James Rue who will face the next ball. So a couple of wicketkeeper batters out in the middle at the moment for Somerset.
Yeah, probably worth mentioning actually, Tom Banton and Will Smead both got out in similar fashion, didn't they, on Wednesday night? That shot there actually, that was one bounce for the single out to the deep square leg man actually, so Tom Banton might have that in the back of his mind, but they're pretty positive with their mindset in white ball cricket these days. I don't think that'll worry him too much. Him and Smead will just say they should have hit it harder and over the fielder.
It's Ransika who is bowling this first over for the Sri Lanka development side. You'll have to forgive us, they have got numbers on, but we haven't been told what number relates to which name, so we're not going to try and guess for you. We'll wait until we know for sure.
I'll fill in my scorecard with pencil and paper as we go, old-fashioned way to help us along.
Pretty good opening over this from Ransika, who is number 15, who I'm sure Harry's quickly scribbling down now. Yeah. God, the sun really is beaming into our commentary box here. It's a beautiful view.
Can't decide if I want the sunglasses on or not, really.
It's on the edge,
isn't it? Daft inside, doesn't it? But
well, it kind of does, but also the sun is really beaming in to our left as we look out here. Jamming the bat down on that one, James Rue, and that's the end of that first over. Pretty neat over from Ransika. Good start.
Yeah, how often do you see only one run off the first over T20, especially when you think Somerset should be the better side in this development side of Sri Lanka? Looking at the scorecards from previous games, there's been some high scoring. Surrey.
Well, Surrey, if you look at the team that Surrey put out, it was a warm-up game for them. It was a full-blooded top 11 for Surrey, really. There was very little extra in there. I guess some of their overseas players hadn't arrived yet, but still, there's some big names there. Yeah, Kieran Pollard adding to that Surrey squad. I'm not sure.
Their squad's ridiculous. Well, yeah.
Just watching that, every time you see a player come available, you think, well, how long before Surrey swoop in and persuade them to do something? So great signing though. Pollard still got a lot to give the game. Yeah, shame to see him retire from the West Indies.
That Surrey lot, well, they've got Jason Roy, Will Jackson, Ollie Pope was all that was required with the bat. But Nelson all the way through, 11 extras and 111 for 1 when they won the game. Yeah. So standing on one leg and hopping about. We're going to see a bit of spin from the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion end. Looks like it's going to be a bit of off spin, I reckon, just from the warm-up to the mid-off bowler. Can't say either of us have seen any of these Sri Lankans play before, but no previous experience. But yeah, it's going to be Banton with a slip in place. Right arm off spin, and that could be a one down the ground, but no, a good bit of fielding off his own bowling. And what have we got? Deep long on. Nwandu, number 27, down below us.
Another one to scribble on your list.
Yeah, he's not even on the list.
There we go.
It's a good ball, that, actually, to push Banton back in.
I was just about to say it's good length. Yeah, keeping it full and darting it in a little bit. Not much flight on it. You see that in the T20s, don't you? You don't risk putting too much of a flight on it because it can, you know, if a batter comes out jumping towards you, you can see it sailing over one of the boundaries.
Here we go. Tom Banton goes reverse. We're getting frustrated here. You didn't expect this to start. When I heard that Sri Lanka were going to field, having won the toss, I was slightly surprised. I think, oh, Somerset might fans getting a few runs here. Banton might. I mean, he still might, but he's been kept down so far. Which is the 1 off 6 balls.
Daniel bowling here.
Not a very English name for the Sri Lankans. That's a short ball, and Banton politely, almost straight batted, punched it down when he probably could have tried to whack it to the boundary, but there is a deep mid wicket and a deep long on, so.
Got a feeling in a T20 Blast game that's going to the boundary. I wonder whether he's just feeling, you know what, I don't want to get out here. I actually want to have some time in the middle. I'm not, you know, perhaps the score isn't the biggest thing here. Perhaps actually they see it as a chance to get some runs behind them just as the start of this T20 campaign. Of course, Somerset's next game here at Taunton on Sunday. Tickets are still available for that one. Double header as well. Western Storm to start off proceedings.
And James Rue's just done what we said Tom Banton could have done the previous ball. He's rocked back and punched out with a straight bat for 4. There's a mid-wicket to James Rue. So to Banton there were 2 men out next door to each other, long on and mid-wicket. To Rue it's a long off and a mid-wicket.
Well, it's tough for both these sides, isn't it? Because actually Somerset won't know much about these players, but also, you know, the Sri Lankan developmental team and their coaches won't know much about James Rue, really. It's you know, they're all sort of putting feelers out.
Rue thinks about a single there, but Tom Banton says no, and again that's another decent really over. That only going for 5 runs, 6 for none after 2 overs is a good start for the bowling side. Very good.
You'd be happy with that in a championship game, actually, wouldn't you? If you were a bowling side after 2 overs, 6 for no loss, that'd be pretty good. Yeah, I mean these tours, and Somerset have hosted a few of these before. Actually, I was here watching an England Lions game before against pretty sure it was a Bangladesh A team, and actually when you do see these, it's really important that these players, young players, get the opportunity to play, sort of integrate themselves into higher level cricket than they play in Sri Lanka or in Bangladesh or wherever, you know, whichever team you're playing. Actually, it gives them experience of playing cricket around the world. Who knows how many of these will go on to represent Sri Lanka at World Cups or even in Test cricket or something along those lines. It's great to see that these still happen. I love cricket for that. You don't see that so much in other sports. He's found a gap there between slip and wicketkeeper as Banton, just an edge, top edge of the bat going through the 2 behind the bat, and the slip sort of watched it through.
Yeah, I've got to say he's pretty lucky there.
Yeah, there's a big gap there, isn't there, actually, between slip and wicketkeeper? And
yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? I think that's trying to be too greedy as a captain. If you want to slip him, put him at slip.
Yeah.
I know it's a T20, you want to cover as much ground as possible, but they could have had Tom Banton out there.
Well, that would have been it, wouldn't it? That would have been absolutely swallowed up by a traditional first slip. But yeah, you'd say he's in second slip position, really. As he tried to scoop it, it's gone pretty much straight up, but luckily far enough that it does evade the slip fielder. And there's some dodgy running there too. It came back for 2. They just about made it. They're taking on the throw. To be honest, the Sri Lanka team were a little bit slow in getting it back to the wicket keeper, but I wouldn't say it was confident running, really, those 2. But then they won't have played together all that often, you know, James Rue and Tom Banton. And actually, partnerships are built on knowing your partner well and knowing how to call and how they run. But Somerset safely through in the end.
Yeah, they'd probably play some St Andrews games together, Banton and James Rue.
Flashing hard at this one. Banton going over the fielder at backwards point inside the circle. And 4 to the total to Banton and to the team. 16 for no loss now, and Somerset beginning to find bat on ball, although not particularly convincingly yet in any shot. We haven't seen a particularly convincing shot, really. But I guess James Rue's 4.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Banton looks a bit like a cat with a hot tin roof at the moment, doesn't he? He sort of not quite know how to play it. He's tried defending it, now he's gone after it, and 3 unconvincing scoring shots the last 3 balls.
Yeah, there's no real pace on it, so it was not pace doing Banton here. And he's nearly feathered that through to the keeper as well, but luckily for him, misses the edge of his bat. So 16 for no loss now, and got another bowler. This is Demuni De Silva, who's coming on. And doing nicely in his first over, although the most expensive of the 3 so far.
Yeah, but then Josh Butler scored one of these hundreds against Fradstone Royals, and he was really struggling. You watch the start of that inning, so sometimes these quality players can have a ropey start and still make it count.
Yorker length there. They are going to get runs here, at least one of them. Sort of batting, putting his bat right down where the ball was pitching, managing to squeeze it out, bouncing it over the head of backwards point, and they come through for a single. So 1 ball left in this 3rd over now. Rue, so fresh in this team, he hasn't got a name or number on his back.
It's like when Nathan McAndrew for Warwickshire rocked up with number 0 on his back. It's bizarre. The overseas sign for Warwickshire.
Yeah, that is it's unusual. Because they've obviously had the time to make the shirt, but he's. Do you reckon he chose 0, or they just said, well, we haven't worked out what number you're going to be yet, so you've got to earn your number maybe at Warwickshire. On the leg side, that'll be a wide. Have to bowl that one again. Rue was trying to get something on it. In the end, safely through. It's one of those things in T20, isn't it? When you see a ball heading down the leg side, do you try, or do you just think, no, we're going to have to bowl another one?
Get for a little tickle, and then if you miss it, you take the wide, I guess, and then they often sort of...
Just that risk, isn't there, of chasing that one and getting on something on it, but not missing the keeper, as De Silva's in again. This one sort of squares up Rue a little bit. That's the end of the 3rd over. So Somerset will be much more happy now than where they were 6 balls ago. 18 without loss here in this, what are we calling this? A domestic T20 match is how the BBC is calling it on their website. But
yeah, I had an interesting conversation with Spencer, head of all things at Somerset here, and he...
I think you've given him a massive promotion.
I know, he'd like that. I knew he'd be listening and love that. Trying to work out what it counts as and whether the stats, because great stat I was preparing in my notes is Max Waller needs 1 more wicket to be the top T20 wicket taker for Somerset. But whether this actually counts, is it an official?
We need the scorers. The scorers will know that one.
Well, Polly Rhodes is watching Ed Sheeran in Cardiff and stitch her up.
Is she really?
So she's having a red night off. We'll let her off. She does so much great work for Somerset that she's allowed a boogie and she's thinking out loud in Cardiff.
Very nice.
So we've got another change of bowling from the just Gothic Pavilion end.
We saw Lammonby open up the bowling for Somerset on Wednesday night, which was a really interesting tactic. I thought actually a very good tactic. I wonder if that'll be something that now other counties will sort of expect and maybe they won't do it, or something they'll stick with. It'll be interesting to see what happens on Sunday night. Or afternoon really, 4 o'clock start for that game, and there's the Western Storm game before that. Still tickets available. Come and see Somerset T20 action.
So that's an inside edge from Tom Banton there. Again, he's just not looking convincing. That's what he's paying out in front of his body. Looks, to say he's scratching out of form seems a bit harsh for Tom Banton. He's only played 1 T20 game at Kent, and these things happen. But he looked a lot better in his first few balls against Kent. You should say it's probably a better bowling attack with the likes of Stewart, and Stevens didn't play, but the left armour class in.
Yeah, I was surprised that Stevens left out of that one. I thought the pitch would probably have been fairly useful.
Green,
it was doing a bit for the bowlers, wasn't it? Certainly more helpful to the bowlers than the runs weren't flying, although Somerset did in the end chase it down pretty well.
That's the one down the leg side that Rue can flick out to that deep square leg man out in the shade behind the retirement flats. What have we got on flat watch today? There are only a couple up there actually.
Oh, it's right into the sun there.
Yeah, just a couple on the top deck. They'll wake up and maybe they're having an early evening siesta, and maybe they'll be back out for the latter stage.
Knowing them, they're probably all down Mambos already.
So
I don't know how much of a crossover there is between Mambo's clientele and the people who live in those flats. Yeah. I don't think it's their market, to be honest. So
Dhananjay Lakshan. Say that my poor knowledge of Sri Lankan names. I feel like I've seen plenty of Dhananjayas in the Test side. Of course, they were playing in Bangladesh earlier this week, and plenty of Lakshan. So maybe it's the Smith-Jones combination of the English variety. Not that we can be experts on Sri Lankan culture, to be honest with you.
The Sri Lankan side there against Bangladesh did really well, didn't it? It's a big old victory there from
10 wickets. Yeah,
by really convincing which is good stuff. I like to see Test cricket doing well in some of those nations which don't have the same resources.
That's a short, wide ball. Done well to keep that to no extra wides. It's a bit of a slower ball James Rew leaves past. Yeah, Dhananjay Lakshan, the current bowler, has actually played an ODI. High score of 2 in his ODI. Had a bit of a bowl, but didn't take a wicket. Sort of a batting all-rounder, plays for Gould Gladiators. He's going to bat left-handed and bowl right arm fast. A bit of a Ben Stokes maybe then. We're going to see. Maybe he's the next guy. I'm giving all these big statements out tonight. And as James Rew rocks back and punches that behind square for 4. Great shot to pick up length that early and beat the man who's out there. Great shot. Yeah, really nice from Rew. Perhaps the bowler just coming back off that wide, thrown off his width, his length a little bit. And Rew making the most of a ball that was there to be hit like that, but Rew executed it really well. Quantock's bathed in beautiful early summer sunshine. Are we saying it's early summer yet? June just around the corner. It feels like we're pretty much there, doesn't it? We're only 24 days away from the summer solstice. There we go. Bit of a flash outside off stump by Rew. You often get away with that in T20 cricket, though. I just wonder if the bowler just rolling his hand over it a little bit there. Yeah, we saw that, didn't we? 2 balls previously, that short, wider ball. Like he tried to bowl a bit of a cutter early, going to their cutters, but pretty skilled in it these days. Doing what they can to get something. And pitch looks like it might offer a little bit. Perhaps asking for the cutters to really make a difference is a little too much. We'll see. Great shot by James Rew. That's going to go for 4. Through extra cover off the back foot, punched hard, and that's a long chase for 4. Yeah, nice shot from Rew. He's the one who's looked more solid with the bat out of these two at the start of this game. But I was just thinking I recognise this lad's name actually. Dhananjay Lakshan did play against England. I remember it now. It was Chester Street in June last summer. He batted number 8. No, he batted number 6. Correct myself. Caught by Root, bowled by Wokes. Yeah, so we have seen this guy before actually. Nice when you suddenly put 2 and 2 together and realise that. Did watch from that game that England won fairly comfortably by 5 wickets with 91 balls remaining. 91 balls is yeah, I mean England are good, aren't they? In ODIs they are. Well, world champions. Livingston opened in that game, which is Livingston did, yeah. Well. And Joe Root got 79 not out, so yeah, class England side. Yeah, England are pretty much setting the standard, aren't they? It's going to be England, New Zealand, Australia, all up there. India as well. We have another change. We're going to have 5 different. Looks like they're going back to the opening bowler, actually. Yes. Nipam Ransika. Yeah, they are going back to Ransika. I thought bowled well. What was it? 1 for no loss after the first over. So can he do the same again? It's Banton on strike. Just moving across there. He had to check he hadn't guided it onto his stumps a bit like Abel did here against Hampshire in the first innings. So managed to get a good solid bat on it, but ball bounced onto the stumps. We should probably quantify this innings so far. There is potentially a 4th day pitch using the county championship. So you look at the Kent track, even though it was green, it was rock hard underneath, wasn't it? It was a real T20 batting track. So there's not going to be as many runs and quite as easy to strike through the line of it. I think you're right. I think Somerset's saving some of their strips, aren't they? You see all the footholes James Rew's almost falling into. You can see some pitches just to the right, as we look at it, to the right of where this one is. See, they're protecting those. They've got some very well manicured grass on there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see those in use fairly soon. Wonder which they'll use on Sunday. I doubt it will be this one that we're using tonight. I'd be surprised to see that. It's a bit of a mix-up. Sent back by Banton, and in the end the throw. Well, it wasn't well backed up. It didn't go for any overthrows. Should say there's a few of the T20 Blast games going on tonight, and Paul Sterling after that ridiculous knock last night. That was great. I checked the scores. I was out on a walk last night. Just fancied a bit of exercise, and I just thought I'll check the scores. And I saw there was something like 15 overs, 200 for 2 Birmingham Bears. I thought, wow, that's a score. I did an even better story last night. I just finished cricket training and literally turned my phone on clicked onto YouTube straight away. First game of the Blast I saw last night was the 6th ball when Sterling had hit 30 off the first 5. Yeah, I straight away screamed to everyone, guys, Paul Sterling needs 1 more 6 to get 6 sixes and over. Of course he hit it for 4. Well, he's gone for 29 off 17 tonight. I mean, you take 29 off 17 in many games.
Who's Birmingham Bears got tonight?
They have got... I should know who they're playing. Derbyshire. They're playing at Derbyshire.
Oh, that's nicely picked up. They've gone into the
just
seats. Yeah. No fielder right on the boundary there, so fairly safe if you can clear the infield for Banton, who, as you said, clears that for 6. The first 6 we've seen of the night. 38 for no loss. Yeah.
That'll give him a bit of confidence, I think. So he's struggled a bit.
Sounded good off the bat, that one.
Yeah, by his standards, we can be harsh critics of a player as good as Tom Banton. Trademark, isn't it, the way he whips it over mid-wicket.
It's great to see when it just flies off the bat. Trying a similar shot, trying to perhaps more square, but doesn't get anything like what he's planning to, and it's somehow skews behind. On the leg side, fine to what would have been in a leg slip position, really. 38 for no loss, then the end of the 5th over, so 1 to go in this power play. And I think Sri Lanka will be fairly pleased, really, with how it's going. Certainly Somerset certainly not rolling away with it, which, if you look at some of the scores that they've had in their tour of southern England, they've had a few tough scores to take, which I think they probably expected, especially as counties were using it as good warm-up, good games to get some practice in. They weren't just putting forwards their development 11s. This is certainly not a development 11 for Somerset, although it's got some new names for what some people might not recognise as regular parts of the first 11, but actually James Hildreth will be coming in soon, George Bartlett, Lewis Goldsworthy, we've got Ben Green in there as well, Marshant DeLange, Jack Brooks and Max Waller all in there. So certainly some good talent from Somerset.
So it's going to be off spin around the wicket, continuing. Ashian Daniel is coming back on from the Triscoffey Pavilion. He bowled the second over of the match, first over in this end, then an over off, and now he's back on again.
Yeah, typical, isn't it? You see these teams' new directives sort of swapping the bowling constantly.
Well, that's a leading edge from James Drew. He's lucky to get away with that, and there's a misfield. Sri Lanka not helping themselves there with a very poor misfield, actually. Fortunately, the backward point has an orthodox point near enough to cover him and run back and keep it to just a 2.
Yeah, I think because there was the run, he needed to pick it up quickly and throw it in.
Yeah.
It took his eyes off because he was watching the runners, and you see it quite often, don't you, in sort of lower level cricket where the fielders are running in, just completely miss it because they're not watching the ball.
That's a big shot from James Drew. He's not got hold of it entirely, but he scuffed it enough to get it actually square. I think if he'd got hold of that, it might have gone to the mid-wicket man. But because he didn't quite get it in the middle of the bat, actually it's gone for 4 between deep mid-wicket and the forward square legs. Another 4 to James Drew.
Let's have another look at that. Just moves slightly across his stumps a little bit. He doesn't, as you're right, he doesn't get hold of it.
I think it was slightly fuller than he expected, perhaps, going for that sweep shot.
Yeah, bit of a bottom edge, perhaps. Not quite getting the height on it that he was looking for.
Quick enough with the white ball to race away, and suddenly this power play could look quite useful. A couple more boundaries now, and it seems harsh on Sri Lanka to think they're going to get nearly 50 off the power play.
Well, and it just shows, doesn't it, actually, because Somerset haven't panicked here. They haven't tried to hit everything. They certainly do. After 2 overs, there was 6 without loss. But it just shows, actually, in a T20, you can make up. You haven't got long, but you have got enough time to make up for a couple of overs, which go quietly. It also says to me, and especially we talked about that Sterling innings last night, 250, 260, even higher than that is possible if it's your night, if it's a flat deck.
That's nearly hit James Drew and his follow through. Banton's just happy to take the 1, and Nippon Dhananjaya Pereira comes down and fields below us.
So what did they make in the end after 16 overs? They were 207, were they, I think?
Something dafty like that.
So they still had 4 overs left to go. If it had been a full 20 over game, in the end it was 16 overs.
Sam Hain hit 60 off 30 odd, and that was second fiddle.
Yeah.
Round the wicket again, Daru. That's another big sweep shot. That time it was a safer shot. It was down the leg side. He knew that he wasn't going to be out Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, worth having a go. As music echoes around the county ground here. Not many in, but a few making the most of a Friday night here, watching some T20 cricket. I've got a few Friday night games here at Taunton. It's been it's good scheduling really for Somerset. They've got certainly the 10th of June, 17th of June, both Friday nights, both 6:30 starts in the T20 Blast South Group, which Somerset will have very high hopes of qualifying from, potentially with a home quarter-final as well. They're a strong setup, this Somerset side. They've got depth as well, as we're seeing here with a few players who can't make it into the first 11 at the moment. umpire signals the end of the power play.
Just looking at the team, actually, everyone's played in the county championship other than Rue. And I think has Waller played in previous years. I think he's played years ago.
Oh, I think we're talking a long time ago. Yeah.
There's some, Ned Lennon and Casey Aldridge, of course, played in that first game when Gregory and Brooks went down with COVID just before the start. There's serious names. In that, we came into this game thinking it would be a bit of a second team, but all but 11 top names really. Just Tom Abel and Tom Lammonby having a bit of a rest, and Josh Davey, Van der Merwe, of course, as well. Craig Opens with England.
That's beautifully played. Lovely drive shot, picking the gap between the cover fielders. 4 runs, diving attempt, but couldn't get near it. Really beautifully placed drive shot.
I think that cover drive and his flick over mid-wicket, the 2 shots will get Banton going now. He looks like he's in. It's taken him longer than it normally would, fine, but as we said, he doesn't need to panic, doesn't need to stress.
For Banton, just a lovely amount of width on that ball. It was sitting up nicely, lovely bit of width. He was reaching a little bit. There was, it wasn't without risk, but actually perfect for him really to play right through the line of the ball. This one just trying to find a gap down to the 3rd area, and he will pick up a single there. Yeah, he's got 9 first-class matches, Max Waller. Batting average of 10.1. No hundreds, no 50s.
So that makes the point then. I reckon James Rue is the only man in the list not to have a county championship appearance.
Yeah.
For Somerset. So that's pretty strong.
As Rue waits. And this one is shorter and pulled really nicely. In fact, it gets to the boundary. It does. It's a really lovely shot. And it was not the best ball. Dug in maybe sort of just over halfway down the pitch, and not a lot of bounce there, and which meant that it was a nice height just to pull it. Not particularly well directed ball, if we're honest. 55 for no loss now.
We all know what an exciting prospect James Rue is. It's easy to forget he's been around for so many couple of years now with the Royal London Cup and runs for Taunton Andrews, runs for the second team for the youth setup. Easy to forget he's only 18. This man's young man really has got plenty of years to get himself into the first team and play regularly.
He was one of the recipients of a Pride of Somerset Youth Award this year for his efforts on the cricket field. The England under-19 team, of course, getting to the final of the under-19 World Cup.
I'll always remember him for he stumped Pujara, wasn't it, in that county select 11?
Yes.
I hope that's not the highest level he ever gets to, but to get first stumping in a county select 11 to get a Pujara of all the men who very rarely misses a ball off a spinner. Pretty impressive.
Well, even if he does miss the ball off a spinner, to be then out of his crease as well and to have the wherewithal to whip off the bails now, it's a great moment. Banton here again, trying to find that gap through the covers. He's managed to get it past the infield, but there's a man coming around. They'll come through for just a couple there. Oh, Sri Lanka will be thinking we need a wicket. These two just beginning to find the middle of the bat a bit better, placing their shots nicely. We discussed earlier on whether we think Somerset might retire some players just to make sure they share it around if they feel like the wickets aren't going to come, just to get a bit of practice for some of these players. We don't know yet, we haven't heard that, but it's something that is going to be a wide, barely reaching the cut strip on that one. It's something that we saw some of the teams do who've played this Sri Lankan development side, which makes sense and will also then mean that Sri Lanka can have a go at bowling to some other players as well.
I mean, sorry, we're brutal. Jason Roy 11 off 8, Will Jacks 58 off 31, Ollie Pope 31 off 20, no retirements.
No.
Job's done in,
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty brutal. So it's punched nicely by Banton. Another punch. Just comes through for a single. Yes, if you look at some of the red ball games, there were other teams decided actually you're not going to get us out, or at least we don't feel you're going to get us out, so let's spread around the batting a bit.
So James Rue on 2020 debut for Somerset is looking pretty handy here. He's only 5 runs behind Tom Banton, but I'd say he's probably looked in more control than Tom Banton. Tom Banton's played 2 shots, he's looked really in good control, but the rest of the time I'd say James Rue's been the confident partner. You'd think maybe he's the more experienced one, but say he's 18 and 2020 debut. He played in the One Day Cup, as we said. Him and Jamie Baird shared the gloves last year for Somerset second team. There's been a few names they've tried in the Somerset second team this year. Of course, Casey Aldridge has been opening the batting, so Here's a shout that he could be pushed slightly higher up the order than you'd expect for a fast bowler, but we're yet to see. The order on the scorecard is pretty flexible, I'd say. So we're going to see a bit of pace returning from the... No, we're going to see a new bowler, actually, from the Triscothic Pavilion end. Another right-arm seamer with a 57 on his back. Manelka is short to Banton. First ball. Banton trying to give himself room leg side. Before the ball was bowled, he was in the footholds, really, wasn't he? Leg side, trying to open up the offside.
I wonder if that was a slower ball, just because the run up, you're expecting something a little bit quicker than that to come through. I wonder if Banton also was, you know, not having seen him bowl before, not knowing these players, wonder whether that was a deliberate ploy or whether that is the speed we'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to judge, isn't it? First ball of a bowler, whether it is a slower ball or a warm-up ball.
Again, that's definitely a slower ball. Got to be. It's going down as a wide, but it was it had so much flight, almost like a spinner's flight. You see Max Waller bowl balls with that sort of flight on them. That's got to be a slow. He's holding back here, I think.
Yeah, just look at the economy rate of some of that Surrey game. The first three bowlers went at 12.3, 13 and 14 and over. Much better for the opening bowlers in this game. Just going at 4s and 6s. It's a tight, no, not too tight. I think actually mid-off's done well enough to stop that.
I think that also comes with batting second
as
well. Surrey knew the target. They only aimed, what was 100 odd, 105 odd they were aiming for. They know they've got a team full of batting talent. May as well have a go and seeing how quickly they could chase it down, which they did within 10 over. They had over half the balls still to go. What was it, 63 balls to spare? You know, they really did just think, well, let's see if we can get this done quickly. But here, Somerset slightly different because they've got to pace themselves here. Really got to get through the 20 overs. Well, was again slightly wider, wasn't it?
Yeah, cut easily out to the man for one run. But I suppose being short and wide, it's hard to hit that ball to the boundary. Slow sort of off-pace delivery outside off stump can be a wide long on really, and if you've got deep cover in the right place, it's very hard for a batter to get in the gap for a boundary.
Yes, have to generate your own pace really on those sorts of deliveries.
So for Bantam, we're going to have a deep cover, long on, long off, deep square and deep mid wicket at the 5-man out. Of course, in the middle period of a T20 now, and that's smashed on the ground for just the one run. 23-year-old born in Colombo is Manelka de Silva, left-handed bat, but right-arm quick bowler.
I would love to go to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
High up the list of, I mean, all the test nations are basically on the list of where I'd like to go.
Any country in the world that plays cricket, I think, is on my list.
Cricket, the cricket world is a good world to explore if you're a cricket fan.
And it's even exciting, the wacky countries you don't think play cricket, and then you see a picture of someone playing in Nepal in the Himalayas or something like that. I think, how cool is that? Rue, I've seen him bat a few times where he does that actually. Did that a lot in the One Day Cup last year. Give himself room, try and smoke. He loves the slog sweep.
Clearing that leg, doesn't he?
Yeah, he wants to hit one over Gimlet's Hill into the graveyard behind. And he does well, to be honest.
Yeah, turns out that this might just be the pace of this bowler who hasn't actually increased his pace much. Yeah, just slower ball after slower ball.
He's just holding back. He's holding back.
I thought maybe we'd see one. Maybe the 6th ball of this over will rocket through at 90 miles per hour. Who can say?
Well, if we can judge him, Manelka de Silva, he got 16 runs and 0 for 32 against Surrey, so not massively. That's the only game he's played on this tour, actually. So the other recent games back.
This will be a rocket.
This is
Marshall Delanga, eat your heart out. Yeah. There's a little bit more on there. Certainly quicker than some of the early balls in that over. Perhaps he got some building confidence throughout.
Who needs a speedometer when you got Charlie Taylor in the press box?
I'm here. I'll do it.
Knows exactly what speed.
I can do. I've got several words I could use. Like, oh, that's quite nippy. That one. Where does nippy land on the scale?
Oh, that's got to be 62.5 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And plus.
Yeah. Rocket is 90 plus, obviously. We need the full scale. If you want to get involved, I'm on Twitter at CharlieTaylor4 at Somerset CCC. You can find us there as well. Let us know where you're watching from as well this Friday night. I imagine a few people kicking back after work.
Yeah, we've got some watchers from Yeovil, we've got some locals in the ground tuning on the YouTube comments. Tony said, yeah, please give a big shout out. The museum will be open between the games on Sunday. So if you're here for the Western Storm game and the Somerset T20 versus Essex, please do pop in and see the Somerset Museum. Mike's done some great work with his other volunteer helpers in the museum, so well worth a look.
Yeah. I'm here actually, I've got a ticket, looking forward to that.
Yeah, Sophie Love's promised, the Western Storm captain's never been to the museum, she's promised she's going to go and have a look.
down the leg side, and they'll be a wide, and they won't run. Sophie Luff, she's worked her office up until she, a few years ago. Her office was literally opposite the museum.
I did tell her off for that. She was very apologetic. Mike's not best pleased, but she's definitely going to go. I won't stitch her up anymore.
Nicely picked up there from the sweep. No run. It's like living, or it's like being, an MP and saying, I've never actually been in the House of Commons. Never actually been in there. Swept again this time. And it won't get to the boundary. It's picked up. I've got a reflection in this window down to my left, and the boundary rope reflected from the other side makes it look like the boundary is quite a lot shorter than it actually is. So if you're wondering why I got slightly excited there when he was a good few yards in from the rope, that's why. It looks very much like the rope is shorter than that. Another sweep shot here. But there is no run at it. He's picked out. Fielder at mid-wicket. 68 for no loss here.
Who do you reckon then? Were you saying Goldsworthy and Hill difficult in the next two? George Bartlett, Ben Green? Could be anyone, really.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Bartlett try and get some runs out here. He might say, can I come up the order? He hasn't played for Somerset this season. I don't think he hasn't been in.
No, got a big 100 for Bridgewater at Bath on Saturday. And you say it's club cricket, but Bath have got some ridiculous names.
Yeah.
Sam Young, Tim Rouse.
You can only score runs against the teams you play.
Yeah.
You can't. He can't come in if he's not in the team. He can't score against county squad. So he's got to do what he can. Fair play if he's getting the hundreds.
If there's any club cricket in the Southwest, I think Bath are probably the strongest side available.
Yeah.
Some ridiculous scores they've been getting as well as their bowling.
Bowled. Is it?
No, stumping.
Bails off?
I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's tried a stumping. Did go through, but Banton stays there as he was in his crease. It was just the wicketkeeper who ran off celebrating. But the square leg umpire says absolutely not. Using his feet here, Banton.
I should say it's great to see Jack Chantry with the umpiring outfit on. Former Worcestershire left-arm seamer with that funny action almost off the wrong foot, that bizarre. Great to see him added to the panel this year. New to the umpiring gig, not particularly old, but he's with Billy Taylor tonight. But yeah, Jack Chantry seems bizarre really. Only a couple of years ago seeing him bowling in the T20 Blast, and now umpiring this.
Yeah, I very briefly met Jack. He was a lovely bloke. Very nice. Good to see the umpire panel sort of move.
Yeah.
Especially for T20s as well, because this is about finding fresh talent, things like that. Why couldn't it be that for the umpires as well? Just certainly in some of the group stage games, if not in the really high profile knockouts or whatever, but getting them in. Again, future of the game relies on umpires. We can't play without them.
No. So what we're going to see now, we're going to see Manelka de Silva's going to carry on. 1 over for 5 with those 2 dots are wide. And that decent last over actually, Bob. You take 5 and overs in the middle overs of a T20.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that could be out, should be out. Yes, Tom Banton on the pull. We say, is it a slower ball? We can't quite tell. Every ball seems to be slightly slower, but it's shortish really. And Tom Banton's pulled it straight to the man at deep square leg, who interestingly was 10 yards off the boundary. Not a massive boundary, never is at Taunton, but just in front of the Andy Caddick Pavilion. And Somerset 70 for 1, and Tom Banton has to go for 34.
Yeah, Tom Banton will be disappointed with that, but actually, fair play to Sri Lanka. Actually, that tactic of bowling a bowler who maybe that's just what he does, is bowl slow balls. But if it is a tactic, actually Banton has had to generate his own pace, and he hasn't got hold of it. And if on a slow ball, if you don't get hold of all of it, then you are at risk of getting caught. So there we go. Sri Lanka will be absolutely thrilled to see the back of Banton, with, of course, all his England experience as well as his destructive Somerset performances that he's got too. I'm sure we will see him here on Sunday, though, with Somerset as they take on Essex Eagles in the T20 Blast. And there are tickets if you want to come and see that on Sunday, as Western Storm taking on Sunrisers as well from 11. So it does look to me like it's George Bartlett who's come out there. Is it number 14 on his back? Yep. So I did suspect that he would be pushing his case to say, please let me come out and have a bat. So it is Bartlett. Rue coming through from that one. So they have swapped ends there, interestingly.
Yes. That rule's not coming until October MCC guideline.
There we go.
I was discussing this at school today, actually. I was trying to explain to some of the kids that I'm going to teach you this new rule about when you start to play cricket, and next summer you're going to have to play a different rule.
Yeah.
For when they cross.
So that rule, which is in place in the 100, is that if you're caught out, doesn't matter if you cross while the ball is in the air, whoever the new batter is comes to the striker's end. But obviously not quite in force yet, but that will be in force in all cricket before long, as that one's just pushed back. Bartlett here feeling bat on ball. 71 for 1 then. As a jogger runs over the Priory Bridge, over behind the Colin Atkinson Pavilion as we look out. Glorious evening. Quantock's bathed in sunshine. Be lovely out there, if a bit breezy.
Yeah, a bit of wind rippling the shirt of Manelka de Silva, and George Bartlett could look for 2 here. That kind of shot when all 3 men are back on the leg side. Very good running, good George Bartlett. He did hesitate at the bowler's end. I thought he wasn't, but James Rew said, yeah, we'll go for it. And I mean, Rew will scurry. George Bartlett's a bit taller, so he sort of strides out a bit like Craig Overton does, not quite as tall as the North Devon man, but yeah, good cricket there. You get that straight ball, and rather than trying to whack it to the boundary, only getting 1 for it, just tap and run 2.
Almost feels like stealing a run when it doesn't pierce the outside of the inner circle. You think, oh,
placement.
Yeah, exactly, and the speed on the ball as well. If it gets there too quickly, then it wouldn't be 2, but no, it's nicely played.
I've always said, I've probably said it on commentary many times, as we see here. Definitely a slow ball this time from George Bartlett.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. They're not going to get 2, but I always think of a few years ago in the IPL finals, Steve Smith and James Fulton needed 2 to win the game off the last ball on wickets 1 or something. So they could have got 3 to win or 2 to win, and he just blocked it to deep extra cover and ran 2. Obviously told Faulkner the plan. I thought that takes some guts to. Everyone else would go for a bounder for the last ball. Just
and that's
2.
the thing, isn't it? Because actually, you're likely to probably spread the field. You've got a good chance of picking out a fielder and only getting 1.
It's a bit of a slap from James Rew. I think he hits George Bartlett.
Yeah, Bartlett couldn't quite get out of the way of that one. I don't think it would have been too painful just watching him. No, it doesn't seem to be too worried about it.
Do remember you can watch on a Facebook Live as well, Somerset County Cricket Club Facebook page. Malcolm Turner's watching from Greece.
Oh,
Rex
lovely.
Bendon says it's a nice evening in Taunton. A pint of natch would go down well.
Oh, now we're talking.
And Anne Birch says, nice night in Taunton for some cricket. Absolutely. Agree with all of you.
It is indeed. It's a shame for some teams that I've seen a few sort of disgruntled about some of the scheduling with the Blast this year. I think Glamorgan have said that there's a few clashes in place with some of their games. I think one of their games clashes with the Wales Football World Cup qualifier.
You make a good point there, because Notts Outlaws have changed their game on Sunday.
There we go.
They were meant to be playing the T20 Blast on Sunday. Of course, it's the big playoff final. Huddersfield are playing Nottingham Forest at Wembley. So Stuart Broad's, well, he wouldn't have played for Notts Outlaws because he's in the England squad, but he's been given permission to leave the England squad on Sunday to watch the football at Wembley. I mean, they're probably at HQ in Lords anyway, so to go to Wembley's hardly far. Yeah. But
well, that's where the first test is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then it's just odd that they would move that Notts Outlaws game for the playoff final, but then Wales football, it's complicated, isn't it?
It is complicated. I can totally understand that. And when you go to Nottingham, which I love visiting Nottingham, the ground obviously is Trent Bridge is very close to
both
Forest
grounds.
Yeah, and Notts County Meadow Lane is right in there as well. So you can see there's a lot of crossover between those. I wonder if there's that same crossover for Glamorgan and Wales. I guess there probably is. I don't know. Experts will be able to tell me more, as this one's cut by Bartlett, but not enough for a run off the a new. But oh no, this is the second.
Yeah, good fielding from Amshi de Silva at point. Actually, that could have been 4 runs if you missed that.
It came fairly quickly. This one a bit more of a traditional drive, but picked up at cover. And again, Bartlett failing to get through this inner circle of fielders from the Sri Lanka team. This one does get through, so I'll come through for a single now.
Always remember George Bartlett's knock against Leicestershire in the One Day Cup last year.
Oh, with George Thomas. Yeah, really good.
It's funny you mentioned George Thomas. I was a bit gutted actually. He was demoted from the team sheet. Ned Leonard came in for George Thomas last minute. We thought we were going to see George Thomas tonight, but sadly we're not. So
yeah, he looked good. He scored 75 off the top of my head. I think it was.
Yeah, good knock
against Leicestershire. I was lucky enough to be commentating on that one. It was a good game. Leicestershire eventually coming through as winners, although their team was much less affected by 100 dropouts, if you like. If you call them dropouts, doesn't seem quite fair because they're still playing cricket. But yeah, the Leicestershire team was pretty much full strength, whereas Somerset were I think 8 players down, which is going to make a change, isn't it?
Yeah, 180 he got on that day against Leicestershire, 10th of August last year.
Yeah, very well played. For me, he's a good talent. He's got a few championship hundreds behind his as well, under his belt. Come through there.
Already got 100 of the second 11 this year. Last year, sorry, ended last year, and this year he's one of those players who's going to be on the fringe of all 3 squads. I think one League Cup he'll play, obviously, but he's going to be fringe of the T20 and the fringe of the County Championship, and just needs a couple of injuries, and he'll get his go.
Yeah. As this one is sort of smeared into the region, actually in front of the Colin Atkinson Pavilion, through deep mid-wicket, if you like, and that one is just a single there, because as we were talking about, had a lot of pace on it, so got to the boundary very quickly. So just the one from it.
Yeah, I think it's been decent from Sri Lanka. You think Somerset, you think 200 straight away. You think T20. I think the pitches are making a massive difference. It's not an absolute belt, I've said before. I think that's going to be a big factor. But Sri Lanka will be fairly happy because it's a fairly used pitch. It probably suits their style of pitches, what they're used to bowling on, the spin, the pace off, the cutters. They bowled alright. They haven't really any dropped catches other than that one that went through slip. It wasn't really a drop. It was more of a field placement error, wasn't it, really? Having that wide first slip.
Yeah, it did feel, yes, and it's easy with hindsight, isn't it? But yeah, you were right. I think your comment about being greedy as a captain, I think that's a fair description.
So it's going to be off spin from the Trescothic Pavilion end again, and that's a dugout, almost a Yorker. James Rew gets that out. He's on to 35 not out. Slowed down a little bit since Bantam went, and he was joined by George Bartlett.
This is Daniel again, who's bowled a couple of overs so far.
Yeah, a few little box of tricks is Daniel. He's got seems to be slightly different out of the hand. That seemed to be more of a leg spinning delivery with the off spinner. Some of them have been a bit flatter, sort of Yorker style. Maybe the sort of Waller equivalent of the Sri Lankan development side. Round and over the wicket, of course, just keep changing up right hand to left hand. He's only 21. Plays for Gould Gladiators in Sri Lanka under 19s, but this should be 6. Yes, it is. Only just, but James Rew gets a 6 down to the scoreboard, where Tractor Driver would normally be sat. I can't see him actually.
No, I haven't heard him on our FX microphone. But yeah, I'm sure if he's in the ground, he'll make himself known by the end of the night.
Yeah. So Daniel was professional T20 best of 3 for 12.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's a caught and bowled. No, it's not. It's a bump ball, but a tiny bit of excitement in the field as Rew whacks into the ground and back to Daniel the bowler. So already 6 for 1, just over the halfway stage, the first over the second 10. And that's another 6 from James Rew. That's going to go all the way into the green seats, the Somerset stand in front of the retirement flats, and there's a few whoops and cheers, and I guess you'd call that a slog sweep. It went quite high, didn't it? Got underneath it. But enough to carry the way for 6.
Yeah, it's the thing here in this ground, isn't it? You can get underneath the shot, still get it for 6, whereas some of the bigger grounds you're at real risk of getting caught on the boundary. But yeah, Rew looking good there. A couple of 6s in this over, which is just forcing the issue a bit. 47 he's on, and very much looking forward to getting a 50 here, playing for Somerset.
Oh, that's a misjudgment from James Rew. Bowled off stump. The bail's knocked off, and that's a big old cheer for James Rew. Looked like he went to slog sweep that, then changed his mind, went to full defence it. In the end, misses it, and Somerset have lost their other opener. Rew's gone for 47.
Oh, I said looking forward to that 50. I wonder whether did his bat hit the ground, or but it looked almost like the bat swiveled in his hand a little bit, and therefore as he came.
It looked like he was trying to play it too square.
Yeah, trying to play it square, coming across the line, and actually the face that he was showing to the ball was the really narrow edge of the bat, and you know, just maybe slightly misjudging the speed that was coming to him at. But pretty good from Rew, pretty good. 47. Somerset fans can expect to see more of him, certainly, I would say, on the back of that. Good stuff. 92 for 2. And they say you can double it at 12 overs, don't they, generally speaking? So looking around 180, which would be I guess a good score on a pitch like this. Somerset would probably have, at the start of the day, said they'd be looking for more maybe. This is a very inexperienced side. Young team as well, this Sri Lanka side.
I guess you criticise Rew by saying he'd hit the big runs off that over already, he didn't need to go.
Yeah.
But this modern method of T20 batting is you just keep going.
If you can, you go.
Yeah. And you don't really want to hoik a sweep shot off middle stump, but if you connect, it's a great shot.
If your opener's still around just at the end of the 12th over, I think, fair enough. They've pretty much done their job as long as they haven't been chewing up tons of deliveries. But I wouldn't say Rue was doing that. It's pretty much a fair performance from Rue. As I say, someone to keep an eye on if you're a Somerset fan. This one's gone in the air, but it's going to land safely. In fact, it's going to go all the way. Yeah, it has done. Had quite a lot in it. I didn't quite realise how much length it had on there, but
you're doing a shot of disservice there, Charlie. That was a lovely shot.
He did. He had more in it than I thought. He went all the way for 6. I was worried it was going to land within the boundary, but no. In the end, flew over the boundary at the far end from us towards the Lord Ian Botham stand. Nice shot from George Bartlett, who's joined now by Lewis Goldsworthy, whose name doesn't actually fit on the scoreboard here. So Goldsworth, and then the Y runs into the 0 next to his name at the moment, as he's yet to face a ball. 98 for 2. He's thrown everything at that, and it's gone through the fielder at cover, who couldn't get a hand on it, and that'll go over the boundary rope for 4 consecutive boundaries here, as George Bartlett ups his pace a bit, and that brings up the 100 for Somerset as well. 102 for 2.
And that's vintage George Bartlett, isn't it? If you're going to say 2 shots he plays, you'd probably say the straight drive and the cover drive. Brilliant. He always likes to show the maker's name, his hard, strong, straight cricket shots of George Bartlett. I mean, it was a very hard catching chance for the short extra cover man. Not really even a quarter of a chance, to be honest with you. Just in front to the right. Great shot for 4.
What's he got up his sleeve this time? Again, driving straight, but there's a man out there this time, so you just pick up a single. Bartlett has a bit of a point to prove, doesn't he, here with coaches watching on, I guess. He hasn't been in a squad, in the team yet. Has he even been in a squad yet? No, I'm not sure he has.
He was in the squad for Wednesday's Canterbury T20 Championship. I think he's been more. Yeah. There's so many quality players in the Somerset squad. It's hard for a Goldsworthy and a Bartlett, for example. It's got 2 or 3 reserves for each position, really. Yeah, well, Goldsworthy again started the season in the Championship side, but was dropped in the end after a few poor performances, a few low scores, but back in the side for that T20 on Wednesday. And he's facing up here, just pushing this one in to cover for a single. I always remember that George Bartlett 100 at Lancashire back in 2018. Really impressive knock. He's since scored 100s at Trent Bridge and Guildford, of course, as well. But he's had a few chances, but he's been in and out, hasn't he? Millfield educated, did really well for England under 19, scoring 179 against India back in 2017. But I don't know if he'll be frustrated not get more game time, or he's just happy to bide his chance and wait for his time.
We'll shuffle across. It's played over point this time. Come back through, just a single there, so 105 for 2. George Bartlett throwing his arms a bit at the recent balls that have been delivered. 13 overs almost done, just 1 left in this over. As Somerset take on this Sri Lanka development side.
I should say, really, I backed Lewis Goldsworthy to be the leading run scorer in the county championship this season.
Did you?
It was a bold call.
It was a bold call. It was a bold call because he'd had a very he'd shown some promise, hadn't he? He had shown some promise, but hasn't quite clicked for him yet this year.
I got very excited with him in the One Day Cup last year, and all 3 forms he got into last year. I just thought Abel might get in England or an England Lions squad, and I thought
I was going to say, did you?
That was my thinking.
It was based on the Abel.
Tom Abel was too obvious. Yeah. I thought he'll be the top run scorer, and then I thought it could be Goldsworthy second, but playing more games.
Yeah,
but no. They're still putting the game together.
Well, yeah, they're not even halfway through this. Well, they are nearly halfway through the championship season, but there's still time. A few big hundreds.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Isn't he 21 still?
Oh yeah, plenty of time for Lewis Goldsworthy to really make himself a huge part of this Somerset side.
So Amshi De Silva is going to come back on from the Scotland Pavilion end. They were off spin, but a bit of right arm pace.
The retirement flat shadow now covering half of the pitch.
Might soon be able to take our sunglasses off in the press box. That's a full toss that George Bartlett just drives politely down to a long off, really. No need to smear that over the leg side. He's just going to punch it for 1.
Pretty sparse crowd. Got a feeling the atmosphere will be ramped up quite a lot on Sunday. Somerset's first home T20 of the year in the Blast, anyway. Taking on Essex Eagles. There are tickets available if you want to join us for that one. I've got my tickets. Got a friend coming down from London today who's with me for the weekend. Going to come along to that one.
Great occasion it should be too. As it's slightly full of balls that Lewis Goldsworthy punches straight to the short extra cover man, but in T20 cricket you just run every ball, don't you? Bat on ball and you run.
You take the arm on every time pretty much, don't you? You're willing to, assuming it doesn't fly straight to them. But yeah, there's a bit of time there. Goldsworthy's quick, as is Bartlett as well.
All athletic, aren't they, the cricketers this day and age, particularly Somerset. Very good fielding sides they put out. Another Sri Lankan under-19 bowler is Amshi De Silva. That's another drive down the ground from Bartlett. Probably only going to be one. Yeah, 2 straight. Love
the one-day coloured floppy hat that is being worn there by the fielder long off.
So yeah, Amshi De Silva bowled just 1 over for 13 runs against Surrey, and that was it. That was his night over. He's already into his 2nd over, so he's hoping he might get the 4 overs tonight. That's a short ball that Goldsworthy edges, and it's going to be lucky over the 3rd man. It's only going to spiral away for 2. But yeah, it looked like it could have been a leg cutter actually. Goldsworthy threw it too early, looked like he went to pull it, played across the line. Outside edge, leading edge over that short 3rd man for 2 runs.
Yeah, pitch offering a bit there, which is interesting. Somerset's bowlers, of course, will be watching on with interest, seeing what they can do. Ned Leonard, Casey Aldridge, Marchant, De Lange, Jack Brooks and Max Waller making up the mainstay of that bowling attack. Of course, Goldsworthy and Green can bowl a bit as well.
That's decent shot from Lewis Goldsworthy to find the gap there. Superb timing. I was about to say that's another easy one for Lewis Goldsworthy out to deep cover, but he somehow found probably a 3-yard gap between short extra cover and deep cover. To the short side, yes, but to get that power and timing off the back foot, a cracking shot. But guess when you're short, like Lewis Goldsworthy is, you're used to facing short balls and you actually play off the back foot very well.
Yeah, sort of occupational hazard for.
Don't fall short to someone who is short. You're used to it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about bowling short to someone who is short is that you're more likely to give away, go overhead height or something, aren't you? It's harder to keep it lower.
So Goldsworthy will just tick the straight over. He's already on to 20. No, George Bartlett's on to 20, sorry. Goldsworthy's already on to 9. Got a bit confused with the old Goldsworthy leaking into the score on the scoreboard again.
It's just all one word, Goldsworthy 9.
Yeah. No, big fan of Lewis Goldsworthy. They've been messy after his exploit. I think it's Camborne Town, I believe, who's played for one Cornish Football League in the Southwest Peninsula. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fans who'll correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's nice to have the Cornish flavour, isn't it?
Yeah, Somerset sort of a southwest club, aren't they?
Almost a 4-county team. I think Somerset, Cornwall, Devon and Dorset.
Yeah, I'm
Dorset's
sure.
debatable.
Dorset, yeah, Hampshire would definitely claim parts of Dorset, wouldn't they? But on the sort of Yeovil border, certainly
yeah, I think
you'd
Lyme
look
Regis,
towards Somerset.
You'd probably come up to Somerset.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to see another spinner from the left arm spin from the River End.
This one to Bartlett, who's to Goldsworthy, sorry, he's playing this one out to the fielder. Comes in from long off, or maybe deep extra cover, depending on how straight he's going to go, and that is just the 1 run there. Long shadows now, the bowler's in and stepping away from it, but missing it, possibly going underneath the bat, I think, from George Bartlett there. 116 runs on the board, just a loss of 2 wickets so far. Bartlett, oh, he's sweeping. As this one, it goes over the boundary. There's an attempted catch there. I wonder if it was a one-handed attempt. I wonder how close that was. It's right into the sun.
His hand was pretty close, but I think had he caught it, he would have been over the rope.
He stepped over the rope.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to flick it back.
Let's have another look at how close that was. It was a slog sweep. Yeah, it would have. Yeah, no, it was never really in any risk of being caught or stopped from being a 6 there. Using the spin, really, is Bartlett, who's reversing this time, but nothing from it. Ball stops dead. Bartlett on to 26. As I said, he's going to be trying to prove himself to his Somerset teammates, especially to the coaches. Haven't picked him for a first 11 game yet. This one's played out to point. I'm not quite sure why the scoreboard is telling us twice that Somerset are on 123 for 2, but the top two lines of the scorecard are identical.
And we've got the sponsors twice on top of each other at the bottom.
Yeah, something slightly odd's going on there.
We haven't got a Julian doing it himself anymore. Oh,
No, this
no.
one goes up into the air. It will be taken by the bowler. Yep, and it is. Top edge. And that is the end of Bartlett, who... I still beg your pardon. It's Goldsworthy, isn't it? He came through for that single before. Yep, so Goldsworthy, who never really looked particularly settled there, in my opinion. Played and missed a couple, certainly one or two, and then only really picking out the ones and twos in the field. There was 1-4 in there, was there, at that time? So
big comment coming here. Ben Green coming in at 5. James Hildreth not batting the top 5 in a, not a second team T20, but a 1.5 team T20. Does this spell the end of his T20 career at Somerset?
Somerset's most capped, if you like, T20 player. Most
Sad,
runs. Yeah, I wonder. Somerset have got to look to the future, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, Hildreth. The thing with Hildreth is it keeps the scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah, he doesn't waste balls, does he?
No, he does not. He doesn't take time getting in. He'll start moving around straight away. Scratches about for maybe 1 or 2, but then he's constantly looking to push it
He
on.
opened up with Tom Banton last year, didn't he?
Exactly.
Whacked it a bit.
Yeah, which actually suited him fairly well, having the field in
Yeah.
to him. So,
But Ben Green's a fine player. I like Ben Green. I just feel like Hildreth's not going to get much of a chance. There's not much point in Hildreth coming with 3 overs to go.
well, and that's partly it as well, I'm guessing. But also, as this one is in the air and will be safe. But also the if they're looking at this season, if they don't see Hildreth as being an option, he's in this game maybe in case things went wrong, in case a couple have dropped early. Not really seeing it as a necessity for him to get runs, under his belt in this game.
So yes, Ben Green batting at number 5 for Somerset. He's going to face his first ball to the spinner. With 3 back at the point region on the 1 and back foot punch it for 1. We've got a bit of excitement down below in our effects, Mike. Someone's having a great time.
Yeah, really appreciated that back foot punch. Fair play.
It was a great shot
Yeah.
for that 1, I mean.
That one makes all the difference. Maybe they had a bet on that Somerset would reach 125.
Well, clears the leg. There's George Bartlett, and he smites it over cover for 6 just landed before the blue cover, just over the rope, and didn't quite get all of it, but an aggressive shot from George Bartlett. Off, sort of middling off, I reckon. He's cleared that leg and gone hard over the covers. Bit of the alarm through the soundtrack. My dad playing me that as a kid. Celebrating that George Bartlett 6. And he goes again, very similar shot. This time it's straighter. And the long off, who's quite wide long off down in front of Gimlet's Hill. They are doing a bit of accessibility improvements, renovations down in Gimlet's Hill. Not in use currently, but hopefully will be able to be used shortly.
Very important, because actually a lot of these stands are not accessible for wheelchair users, just from the nature of what a stand is like.
Yeah, just a short leg side ball from Ben Green. He could have had the wide, but instead he's flicked it for what should be 2. He ran slowly to Ben Green.
Yeah.
I dare say Goldsworthy would have scurried back a little bit quicker than Green. He gets 1.
Yeah, he would have done, I think. But just in the nature of how these stands work, they're not accessible. So to have an area of the ground that is obviously not only important, but also legally required, as that is going to be given as a wide.
Made me chuckle, actually, watching the builders during the county championship game while they work on it. Doing very little work, to be honest with you. It's like
I think they were told to stop, weren't they, during play?
At one point, yes, because it was dangerous or in the way or making a noise. But if they've been paid to work 9 till 4 and they're 11 till 6, they can't work. It's not ideal, is it?
Yeah.
Good bit of fielding down by Gimlet's Hill area, long off.
Yeah, there's some good footage of them sort of with their feet up watching the cricket, because they weren't allowed to work during it.
Pretty dream job.
Oh, yeah.
You can do an hour's work, 40 minutes of lunch, 20 minutes of tea. That's the only work you can do. So 135 for 3 after 16. Not massive from Somerset.
No,
but
no, this is
probably adequate. Probably. It's hard to judge a par on a worn, used pitch.
It's the
attack, we don't really know.
It's not going to be a score that's going to say to Sri Lanka, oh, no chance we're getting that. This is going to be a score that Sri Lanka will think, well, if we get 1 or 2 players that really get going, because you know, it's a T20 game. It's not, you know, they're not 4 innings championship or first class game where, generally speaking, the better side comes out on top. T20 side, it's game. Anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah,
it just takes a couple of players to get going.
We shouldn't compare this to other T20 blast games tonight, like Northampton scoring 223 off their 20 overs. Sam Curran in the runs as well as Ben Curran for Surrey and Northampton respectively.
Interesting that, because they were bowled out for barely anything against Birmingham, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were trying to chase a big total.
I dare say Birmingham Bears are slightly stronger than Durham as well.
Yeah,
a slightly different batting first and batting second. I mean, Chris Lynn is a pretty useful signing for Northampton Steelbacks.
Chris Lynn, I mean, that's...
You
got happy with that in any side.
Yeah, 83 or 46 balls.
Yeah,
that says a lot to 180 strike rate.
Just playing this one out. Guiding it is Ben Green to the deep point fielder. He comes in and they come through just for a single in the end. Somerset not... I mean, the boundaries have come. There've been plenty of boundaries, but they're not flying in, are they? The boundaries, they're not, you know, constantly happening here. Sri Lanka's bowlers being able to keep the lid on Somerset here. This is a big shot. So that's going to go all the way over the field. He doesn't even try. There's another 6 runs to George Bartlett, who has moved on to 43, just off 24 balls.
Yeah, he's batting well, George Bartlett, isn't he? We know he plays that slog sweep as well. That's his main option to spin. And yeah, we looked at the Bradford Builders things with Tom Abel on Twitter recently. Enjoyed his little challenges, and their stand was in action there.
Yeah,
Bartlett whacking it into the sponsor's logo for 6.
Yeah, like you say, just down. He gets down quite early, doesn't he, Bartlett? And then he's in the right position that he can lift it over his shoulder. It's something similar, but pushing it out in forwards of square, and there's just the 1 run.
Can look elegant and beautiful, can't it? And they can look pretty awful when you go for a Hoyt slog sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Bartlett there in 44 now, out of 144 for 3. So he's played pretty well. As Green's trying to do something similar, playing it out over the mid-wicket boundary. That's gone all the way for 6. So Green getting in on the 6s now. So perhaps with just a few overs to go, 3 in the ball, these two deciding, right, 6s or nothing now. This is what we're trying to do.
That's the Ben Green of finals day. That phenomenal knock against Hampshire when we were down and out, gone. Green, Overton and Davey, those 3. Yeah, really crucial, weren't they?
Really rate Ben Green. This one he's pushed forward. It's really well taken. What a catch. What a catch. He's dived on it. Must have flown to him. He's taken it two-handed out in front of him, diving. Absolutely great catch. And Green is gone. And he will be surprised, I think, after feeling how quickly the ball raced off his bat there. He's been caught at extra cover. 150 for 4 now, that is, isn't it? As Green makes his way back, he'll be disappointed, but it's a cracking catch.
I can't help chuckling. I can't blame you, but literally you hadn't finished finishing the word Green. I really rate Ben Green. He's out. I mean, it was a good 9, but
I've had a really good bit of commentating curse today.
You have actually,
because I said no boundaries, and then there's 2 in a row. I also, what was the other one?
Someone else got out. You just said no. James Rue.
Oh, James Rue. So he's looking forward to getting his half century. He's out for 47. Right, I need to stop making predictions. I need to stop saying how much I rate players. 150 for 4 here. So Sri Lanka, I think they'll be really pleased, actually. Yeah. With 3 overs to go. Somerset can, 10 and over from here. Somerset get to 180-ish. But yeah, I think, Sri Lanka here, having been hit for 100 in less than 10 overs against Surrey, 105. Be fairly pleased.
It is James Hildreth, which is good to see.
Yeah, coming out.
Strikers end.
Number 6, rare.
That's a great shot. Reverse scoop by George Bartlett down to the Millfield school sign, and that's gone for 6. It's got the legs.
Yeah, and that's his 50 as well.
Yeah, just quick enough to get that scoop over. And George Bartlett, what a knock this been. 50 in little time, really. George Bartlett, 44 off 25 balls, gets that 6. 50 off 26 balls. That's some knock, nearly 200 strike rate.
Yeah, I told you he had a point to prove.
Yeah.
That's my one thing that I've said that has come to pass.
So James Hildreth and George Bartlett, what can they do in the last 3 overs? I said a couple of overs ago, is Hildreth a man to come in with 3 overs to go? Well, he comes in with exactly that to go. As Bartlett gives him the strike with that back foot cut punch for 1.
I like it when Hildreth's got a licence to play shots here. He's not, he's not coming in with Somerset 2 down early on or something.
Yeah, I don't want him to then dive first ball. Though, really trying to whack a silly shot.
Yeah,
I'd like to have seen him get time to have a proper bat, really.
Yeah,
I thought maybe Ben Green and him could have swapped, but then 5 overs in, 3 overs to go. It doesn't make much difference.
Well, he's getting a go at least, Hildreth. There's I guess a risk if you're down at 6 that you don't in a T20, but Yeah, see some of him. Let's see what he's got.
Typical Hildreth. Straight down the wicket, first ball. Little step, little glide. And tickle, really, but does race away to deep square leg for 1 run.
Yeah, middle at the bat straight away. First ball. Lovely stuff.
So I reckon we could see Lanka coming next. I mean, there's not really any point in Ned Leonard or Casey Aldridge.
I'd love to see Lanka come in. Just swing the bat.
Brooks and Waller are locked in at 10-11.
Yeah. Even
though Brooks has a first-class 100 and Waller has multiple second-team 100s and a second-team double 100. That's a great shot by George Bartlett. Is it? Oh, it was dropped actually for 6. It's a great shot to get it. Yeah. It's probably nice height, really. He's jumped. We probably need to jump. 2 hands above his head. Deep cover has dropped it for 6, but it was still a great shot, even though it was.
Yeah, shot was good, even though the fielder was there. In Harry's defence, I will say that the sun is shining right into us there, and it is quite hard to see fielders or no fielders. There's all sorts of reflections and sunlight and things. So, but yes, it should have been taken. But should be out here, really.
Almost blurs into the blue covers.
He does. He is actually quite hard to see. But yeah,
I don't know why there's blue covers when it's clearly not going to rain today. But well, that's a quick bounce. You missed the speedometer to my left. Well, I'm sure correct me, but that fell at the quickest ball of the match.
It's approaching a rocket. That. Well, it was certainly. I agree. Certainly the quickest ball of the match. The way that came through, or at least it seemed it from up here. Not seen too much that would be up there with that speed wise. So that might have surprised Bartlett slightly, or maybe it's just the anger from having a drop there. Could have had a wicket.
Should have bowled that quicker ball earlier on. Really into his 3rd over. It's the first time we've seen that real sharp delivery. That's a slow ball, and that's driven over the extra cover for 6. George Bartlett has played some magnificent shots over the offside. The way he gives himself room, and most players, when they want a 6 or a 4, they go leg side, don't they? I just love the way George Bartlett extends his long levers and goes over the covers for 6.
It's something about people who play most of their shots over the offside. It just does look great, doesn't it? Davies is another great example in this Somerset side. Plays his shots on the offside, and it is glorious to watch. You get used to seeing those leg side hoiks and sweeps and the slogs and all of that, and it's great, and it does a great job. But actually, something about going over cover, that's nice, isn't it?
That's a point you nearly accidentally made there, I think. Actually, we haven't mentioned Steve Davies yet. James Hildreth getting a go tonight. James Rue getting a go. I mean, maybe Steve Davies has just got no interest in T20 cricket anymore, which is fair enough. I mean, he's had his time. He's scored a lot of runs for Surrey and a few for England.
Is he the sort of guy who would say, I don't have any interest? I don't think. I think he's the kind of guy who'd say, no, I'm here to play cricket.
Yeah, it was only a couple of years he was opening the batting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I actually quite like that.
Yeah. So many players want to open the batting in T20, mind you.
Yeah. Hildreth here, just guiding that through to what ends up being sort of backwards point, but was kind of 3rd man area, I guess he was aiming at. So brings Bartlett onto strike. Well, that's the thing to do at the moment, Hildreth, just letting Bartlett take the strike.
I think Hildreth just finishes with the 100 strike rate here. He faces 3 or 4 balls, gets 1, and Bartlett gets 70 not out, and that's ideal for Somerset, really. Yeah,
and what is great here with 11 balls to go is if that can happen, if Bartlett deals in even numbers. Having said that, he'll be out now, won't he? What's been going on tonight? Chips this one in the air. There's a chance here. No, the fielder was too far back. But and what will that mean is that Somerset actually creep up to sort of 190, 185, and that would actually be a really good spot for Somerset. And actually, but Bartlett here saying, "Go on then, leave me out with Sunday. If here I am, Jason Kerr, Tom Abel, I'm in form." Hildreth this time, driving, just digging it out a bit. It was a full ball, and it's the 1 run there. So Bartlett back on strike. 173 for 4. I think if we'd made predictions at the start, I think we probably would have said Somerset would have been aiming higher than this. But as Harry's been mentioning, it is a used track. It's the one from the Hampshire game, which Somerset lost. 9 balls to go then. Bartlett is again using his feet to get down, and it's gone all the way pretty much to the back of the Somerset stand.
Oh, was that a drop catch in the crowd?
I think it was. I'm sure we'll get a replay.
Yeah, I think
they're not celebrating.
Mate in the white floppy hats dropped it.
Looking a bit sheepish.
He hasn't got sun in his eyes either in the shade there.
No. But just doing the same. They're using his feet to come across.
To slog sweep pace bowler is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I haven't got the courage, to be honest.
Well saved. I wonder what you were going to say then. Bartlett 70. Oh, trying to just help that one on its way, but He's not got any of his runs like that. I know what he's trying to do because I guess the bowler's trying to stop him from slog sweeping again. But
I guess he got to 50 with a reverse scoop.
He did. Yeah,
it wasn't quite. That was more of a
rampy
Dilshan,
looking. Yeah. Oh, and you've got to be brave to use the Dilshan scoop against the Sri Lankans as well.
I think a reverse scoop is probably a better option than that. That Dil scoop.
Would agree with
ramp, whatever you want to call it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Overturn, man.
Shadow's really long now as the sun sets, and this he's a little bit lucky he hasn't played that onto his stumps, to be honest. He didn't know much about where it had gone, but they come through for a single.
Kept the strike?
Yeah, don't think Hildreth will mind. He's quite happy out there, I should think. The advertising boards here just beginning to stick out a bit as the sun sets, so those lights, although they've not quite, you can actually now just start to see on the players' shadows the shadows from the lights as well, so we'll start to see those take effect soon, which could impact the fielding depending on how dewy it is. Maybe that's one of the reasons. But, I think Sri Lanka won the toss, didn't they? As far as I know, so maybe that's one of the reasons they would rather bat.
Here's a question for you. George Bartlett, he's going to finish 70, 80 not out. Whether it's out or not is not relevant. He's got 70 or 80 runs at T20 against a decent Sri Lanka side. Not saying they're world beaters, but does this impact Sunday? Maybe not. But does it impact further T20 rounds? Is he now... He's in the squad. Do you put him in, or is he going next in line?
The problem is Somerset didn't learn much from the game against Kent because the two openers got out. Fair enough, that happens. Yeah. They got starts, they got out. Then you only saw Rousseau and Abel. Obviously, you're not going to drop either of those. Your overseas player, your captain, they played really well. So what you don't know is what comes after Abel.
Yeah.
Who's in form? For me, is Goldsworthy at risk of losing his place maybe with Bartlett in this sort of form? What does Goldsworthy bring you? Left arm spin, well, Van der Merwe brings you that as well. So, questions to answer there, potentially.
So last over of the game here, and Bartlett straight over to leg side. We'll see how good he is through the offside, but he's also happy to go over to leg side.
Yeah, wouldn't mind
away for one.
See his wagon wheel today. Yeah. Bartlett, it's been fairly good, but a lot behind him on the leg side of the slog sweep, but plenty over the covers as well. He's
yeah, my favourite stat I sort of made up. Well, it's pretty obvious, really.
You can make up any old stat.
You can make a stat, can't you?
Yeah.
The 4 people batted, 7 people bowled on Wednesday against Kent at Canterbury.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's perfect.
Yeah.
For a team game to get the win, as James Hill just swings it away. Might be 2, potentially even 3. They run really hard. There's a midfield on the boundary, just the 2. But yeah, to have the top 4 scoring the runs, Bartlett and Smith, Banton and Smith got a couple, and then the 7 guys to the bowl in 5 below. You don't need all these all-rounders, but Somerset have so much strength in depth. Josh Davey at 11, best number 11 in the game, surely.
I mean, that is properly batting down to number 11, isn't it? Josh Davey, who I know we talked about Green's impact on that Hampshire semi-final, but Davies' 6s at the end.
Straight over long on.
Exactly.
Right
without those, Somerset we're going crashing out at the semis. So he has to, as you say, has to be one of the absolute best.
Opened for Middlesex a few years ago.
Well, there we go. Now he's at number 11. I mean, that's a pretty big fall from grace, isn't it?
Hildreth swings that. Oh, it's not going to be 6. Might he be lucky? It might not carry to the men in the deep. No, it doesn't. Great diving effort. Superb effort. That's a lot of sky air time for 1 run for James Hildreth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky job.
God, just hung in the air for
He's on a hiding to nothing, isn't he? Unless he hits 6 off his 3 balls.
Well, obviously he's come off strike now, so he'll just let Bartlett finish off the last over there.
3 balls. He'll want 3 maximums, but it's not all as easy as.
So what is he on? 72. Yeah, 80 would be a great. 80 not out would be a really great.
And 190 would be a great score on a used pitch.
Yeah,
superb score. Thanks a lot to George Bartlett. He gives massive room leg side to try and smite over the 3rd man.
Bowler watched him well. Let's give credit where that was due. There, saw the bowler bats moving and followed him with the ball. And good bit of cricket there. You can see what Bartlett was doing, and the bowler was up to it as well. So what's Bartlett got? 2 balls. He's on 72. 6 runs away from 190 as a team here, Somerset, which is you're always in the game with 190, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 balls left. Is he going to scoop? No, he's going to stand still. And back foot slaps that for 6. Incredible batting from George Bartlett. He's gone offside, leg side, he's scooped, he's ramped. Now he just stands there. And Richard Walsh is very impressed with that 6 down below him, just to our left. Back foot straight over the bowler's head. Yeah,
just sort of standard deliver, wasn't it, from Bartlett? If I can't move my feet well, I'll just stay here and make the ball do the work.
What makes you think, why bother moving around?
Yeah.
If you stand there and deliver, then why bother? Stand and deliver.
Hildreth down at the other end is great for not moving his feet, so he probably shouted to him, just stay still.
What can he do last ball? Goes again. That's a massive shot through the covers. 4 runs to finish the innings. 10 off the last 2. George Bartlett has salvaged Somerset from a slightly tricky position. Yes, Rue and Banton put on 70 for the first wicket. 34 for Banton, 47 for Rue. A little bit of a struggle for Goldsworthy and Green in the middle order. Hildreth not out on 6, but George Bartlett, 82 not out, batting at number 3 for Somerset. Cracking knocks, taking to 194.
Yeah, good stuff. George Bartlett, I said that he would have wanted to push himself up the order, which he did, and it worked nicely for him. 82 not out, 194 for 4. Yeah, you said Somerset in a tricky position. I think, you know, they were always pretty much on top, weren't they? I think they always had their noses in front, but could have been a lot smaller target that Sri Lanka are chasing. I mean, this is now big for Sri Lanka. They started so well, picking out 6 for no loss after 2 overs in the power play. It looked like Somerset maybe had a bit of a tricky pitch to deal with, but they have dealt with it. 194 for 4 on a pitch like this is pretty formidable, really, you'd say. And it just proves actually the depth that Somerset have got, because they haven't put Will Smead in this side. There's no Tom Abel, there's no overseas Riley Rousseau. No, this is a side that has been stripped of those top 3 players for the Somerset first 11 and has still managed to put up 194 on a tricky pitch.
Yeah, really interesting 20 overs that, and we're going to have about a 7-minute break now, and then we're going to be back for the second innings where Ben Green will lead the Somerset side out to try and defend 194 for 4.
This is absolutely spectacular. And from nowhere, full stretch. Absolutely stunning.
Look at his face.
It doesn't get better than this. Oh, that's unbelievable. That is utterly incredible.
shade now as the sun sets, as Sri Lanka, the development squad from Sri Lanka, which has been touring England, is trying to reach 195 to win from 20 overs. It's a big total on a used pitch that Somerset can be pretty pleased with. Top scores earlier on was George Bartlett, finished on 82 not out, really impressive. And there was 47 for James Rue as well, who it looks won't be keeping tonight. It will be Tom Banton, by the looks of it, wearing the wicket-keeper's gloves for Somerset. So 195 to win. I'm alongside Harry Everett. Harry, this is a big total here. They need to start well, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, George Bartlett batted superbly. I think he's really put something in the driving seat here. It's going to be Jack Brooks with the new ball. I guess decent option. Max Waller does often take, in T20s in previous years, does often take the new ball and try and get through and over. But I think Somerset will go attacking here. I think they will not necessarily look to contain and keep the score down. I reckon they might just go for wickets. Interesting to see what sort of approach we've got, but basically a first team bowling attack. Ned Leonard and Casey Aldridge, the only two that wouldn't necessarily be in the first team, but you could have Goldsworthy bowling, Ben Green bowling, Martin de Lange, Jack Brooks, Max Waller.
Which is a strong lineup, really. So they've got their work cut out here, Sri Lanka. It's been, I should think, in some respects, a slightly demoralising tour of South England, but they must have come here knowing that it was going to be tough.
Good experience.
I didn't notice this earlier on, as it will be the first ball, and it goes a bit of an underage given as a wide there, Jack Brooks. So starting off with an extra, so we are yet to see the first proper ball of this reply. Noticed that the Sri Lanka flag is flying on the Andy Caddick Pavilion, which is a nice touch. I like that they're obviously they're not the first 11 for the Sri Lanka, but they are still adorning the pavilion with the country's flag. Good to see as this is played out towards the third area, and there's just a single added to the total.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing in the interval Max Waller taking his catches, of course, and yeah, we saw Tom Banton with Paul Tweddle taking the keeping gloves, having his practice. He's got his long sleeve top on and Hildreth at first slip. Yeah, not James Drew keeping, but Tom Banton.
Yeah, bit of practice. As you were saying, a bit of practice ahead of a T20 campaign that's only just started. Plenty of games still to come. 13 games still left in this T20 group stage for Somerset. The next one here, Sunday afternoon. It's a 4 o'clock start. Just defended here. It was a chance. It was a quick throw. No, but there safely in the end. Tickets still available for that one, Harry. Should be a really good day. I think Western Storm against Sunrisers kicking off the day at 11 o'clock. Always great to see Western Storm playing here. A chance to see not only the great Sophie Luff.
Yeah, she'll be in the commentary box after playing as well, won't she?
Great stuff.
What an effort that is going to be.
Is she going to be sort of showered and changed the clothes?
I'm not sure
about
showered.
Quite a small room. No, it could be quite
Depends how many runs she gets.
Potent, yeah. Pulled, and there's a man in the deep, so I'll come through again for a single. But then after that, 4 o'clock, Somerset against Essex Eagles. So if you're listening, you happen to be an Essex fan or from that area, you may as well come as well. Book a hotel, come and see Sunrisers, who play their home games at Chelmsford, and Essex as well, here in Taunton. So southeast-southwest match up there on Sunday.
So Jack Brooks has got this deep square leg and the deep third man and the two men out. Ned Leonard down below us with a rather strapped up left hand. Not often you see fast bowlers with a big strapping on one hand. Normally it's the slippers from Azhar Ali. He used to always have so much tape on his fingers,
yeah.
didn't he? Still got that 5 for the One Day Cup and scored a couple of hundreds with Somerset, but it's a slip catching that ruins your hands.
Oh, you're really using his feet there. It was Chris Bullock. But no avail. Missed the ball.
Sort of onto his toes, wasn't he? Sort of trying to whack it on the up over the extra cover area towards the Colin Atkinson Pavilion, but no connection. Now James Hildreth is already out of slip. 5 balls into the innings, they've lost the slip. Hildreth out to mid-wicket on the ring.
Bit of an interesting story with Jack Brooks last season, wasn't it? As this is
Yeah.
pushed out for just a single little bit. Brooks, who was supposed to be commentating with me in the commentary box on every game, the idea was that he was going to be here with us every single game commentating. Managed to find his way into the team. I think we only did maybe one, if that, together by the time he found his way into the team, and played pretty well. A lot of variations. He's clearly been working on his game. You know, someone who's been around for a long time in the game. Really worked out his technique and his tactics for a T20, and was bowling all sorts of variations, shorter balls, slower balls, wider balls. You know, it's really good to see. that he managed to work his way in there. So not in the team against Kent on Wednesday night, just gone. So perhaps a chance here to prove himself why he should still be in that setup.
So Ned Leonard, 19-year-old, is going to bowl from the Triscothic Pavilion end. Actually born in Hammersmith, but been around about Somerset for a while in the second team. Did play for England under 19s. Of course, he played with Casey Aldridge at the Aegeus Bowl, unintentionally really, when Gregory and Brooks went down with COVID for the first county championship game of the season. But an exciting right arm, sort of medium pace bowler. So he's got a deep square leg and just the third man against the same field as Jack Brooks, really, just mirrored to the other end. James Hildreth is going to be in slip for Ned Leonard's first ball. That's a short ball. That's a very, very short ball, in fact. I dare say if he hadn't tried to pull that and just sort of block pulled it to the Lanka mid-on, that probably would have been a wide ball. Reaching above his head. But yeah, Ned Leonard, I don't think he intended that short ball, just slightly slipped out.
Bit of a loosener maybe, but gets away with it.
Yeah, made his debut in first class for Somerset against Lancashire last year, and so he played against Hampshire this year, but been in and around the second team for a while. He actually scored 97 for Somerset seconds against Northampton the other week at Milton Keynes. Quite a small ground in Milton Keynes. That was not the other week, sorry, that was last year, but more renowned for his bowling. I don't think he'll be batting much higher than number 9 for Somerset, but he's got the new ball. He's got Cruz Puller in his sights, and that's a wild swing. I mean, it was a flamboyant cover drive he was going for, one of those George Bartlett-esque, really. But George Bartlett was probably on 40 before he started playing those shots.
He shapes up nicely, mine.
Yeah.
It was a nice. I mean, if it had connected, it would have stayed with its power, wouldn't it? It's a lovely looking shot, but you sort of ignore the fact that he didn't hit it.
Good air shot.
Yeah. Bit of air cricket.
That's more controlled. Tickle for probably 2. Lewis Goldsworthy is quick, but he can't be that quick. Charging in, picking up and throwing from the deep cover boundary. George Bartlett patrolling one boundary. Ben Green patrolling the other boundary. Everyone else in the ring. So marching to Langer's Rockets will be held for a little bit later. Ben Green, of course, marching the troops. No Gregory or Abel in the side tonight.
Well, De Lange was held back, wasn't he, against Kent as well. They didn't bowl him first up. They sort of left him to the death. He did the odd numbers leading up towards 19.
Yeah, a bit expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit expensive, but that's kind of what you get, isn't it, with De Lange?
Well, that's an interesting shot. Straight over the top, and Martin Langer's caught it. Good catch. We were just talking about him. It looked like it could have been a good straight drive over the top. Ben Green's chuffed a bit from mid-off. Martin De Lange made some good ground there from wide long on to get round down in front of us. Top catch, and Ned Leonard gets the breakthrough for Somerset. Sri Lanka development at 7 for none.
Bit of a weird catch, that, wasn't it? Sort of the way he was coming. I couldn't tell whether he was waiting for it to bounce or it's hard to see exactly what the heights were on it, but he's a massive guy, Martin De Lange, so taking it pretty high above his head, two-handed, and well, yeah, good start for Somerset. So 7 for 1 now, and bit of a rock to the boat for this Sri Lanka side, which he said they needed to start big. There is a worry that too many of these batters try too hard too soon against a pretty strong Somerset side. They've got to be careful here. It's a massive ask, 195. If I think they'll feel good if they can get to say 150 by the end of the 20 overs. I think that, okay, they've lost the game, but actually they'll feel like there's been an improvement on the game since when they were thrashed at Surrey.
So Nipun Dangier is going to be the next batter in. He's 21. He's right-handed back, coming at number 3 for Sri Lanka, but of course they did cross, so he's not actually going to be on strike. It's a decent delivery from Leonard. And there's been an unnecessary overthrow, but it wasn't an overthrow actually, no, good stop from Martin De Lange. He was clearing his ground, but good, aggressive, athletic fielding from Somerset.
Yeah, keeping Sri Lanka on their toes here, saying that you can't squeeze singles off us. We are going to be trying to. Well, from what we've seen so far, it's aggressive. It's we want to bowl you out almost, isn't it? It's saying we're not going easy on you. Just because they are fairly inexperienced players compared to some of these. The fact that Martin De Lange's played Test cricket for South Africa. I think I'm right in saying certainly international cricket. Yeah, he's serious.
Yeah, played
quality.
2 tests, 9 wickets and 2 tests. Watch the Lanka.
So that, and coming up against this Sri Lanka side is going to be difficult to handle. So we'll see Jack Brooks then again. He's going to have a bit of a spell at the river end. Let's pick up a single off the first ball. Can't see that he's wearing a headband. Has he got a black one on, or is it just that he's not wearing one? Because that is big news.
We're on headband watch.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's
it's
a
hard to
hashtag
see.
floating around Twitter.
Oh no, I think he is wearing one. It's just a dark coloured one. Can't really see it against his hair.
I didn't see him in his referee's outfit tonight. He normally likes to referee the pre-match football.
Does he? Yeah.
In his black and white AFL style outfit.
Why does that not surprise me?
What doesn't surprise you about Jack Brooks?
Yeah.
What a character.
This one just another single, just a point. Goldsworthy. Goldsworthy looks like he's wearing a shirt that's about 3 sizes too big for him.
Banton the same. Long sleeved.
Yeah, they are actually. They're long. They're quite long in the body, aren't they? Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's just the style. I'm definitely not one
It's
to
fashion, yeah.
comment
Me
on
neither.
fashion.
A lot of long sleeve down there. It's not that chilly, but the sun has gone in, I guess. So.
Yeah, just dipping below the retirement flats for us, but some uppish, but safe. I think about 2 there. They'll get it as well. Throw comes back in towards Jack Brooks, who manages to take the pace off it.
George Bartlett, fresh from all those runs, and he's charging around the field. The ball keeps seeming to go wherever he
Well, he'll be full of confidence now, won't he? That's really good for him. I'm so pleased. 82, not out, with some lovely sixes in there. How many sixes was it in the end for Bartlett? Find it here.
82 of 38 balls with 9 sixes.
Wow.
Only 2 fours.
9 sixes. It's a really good innings. That was a nice drive. Won't get past the fielder. And just keep it just to a single. Yeah, I mean, that's a really great innings, isn't it? 82, including 9 sixes. Well, it'll do a world of good. World of good, I think, for George Bartlett, who has been missing out on some of those. And you said 100 against Bath recently as well. So clearly, if there were any issues with his form, they seem to have been ironed out by him. Must be a most frustrating thing to be out of form as a professional cricketer. This one is fired into the air, sort of slapped back towards the cover area, and it will be a boundary. So the score moves up to 16 for 1. And Sri Lanka Nishan will feel better. After that, he moves to 7. First boundary of the innings.
Yeah, nice shot. I was just going back to George Bartlett. A lot of him reminds me about Adam Hose, actually, who happened to score 50 for Birmingham Bears tonight. Nice to see a former Somerset right-handed batter
Good stuff.
get some runs for them. And something about the way they sort of hit straight and hard, and big six is the lord of right-handers. Top from George Bartlett, as we said. He's now going to come up into the ring, is he actually? Yes, they're going to go deep square legs back. No, Ben Green's changed his mind again. Actually, Jack Brooks is calling the shots for this over. Third man up, square leg, deep middle wicket, 2 leg side. I'm going to be back. Is he going to change and double bluff maybe?
Oh, nicely stopped there. Came flying.
Nishan's reaction was quality. Nishan Marushka, the wicketkeeper for Sri Lanka, he was fuming again before. He premeditated that. He's still rehearsing the shot 40 seconds later.
Let's take a look now at what's coming up. Throughout the T20 Blast here in home games, you can win epic prizes during the Blast. Hashtag How's That Trade Nation. Make sure you use it. And we did this last year in a similar sort of thing, giving away incredible prizes. So celebrating the Southwest is the theme of the prizes this year. So make sure that you listen in and watch the live stream of the home games of the T20 Blast. And make sure you're also using the hashtag How's That Trade Nation as well. All you've got to do is enter your details into the online form. It's online. You can find it on the website, Somerset County CC. You can find us on there. And we could be giving you a call during the interval of those home games. So we're giving you Boardmasters Day ticket, VIP experience there for 4 people. Thatcher's Tour of the Farm, Myrtle Farm. 4 crates of your choice as well of Thatcher's. That's a pretty good one. 300 quid, Grey Nickel shop voucher. Amazing stuff. 750 quid voucher for a stay at Carbis Bay Hotel in St Ives.
And Lewis Goldsworthy, talking of St Ives, talking of Cornwall,
Oh.
you segued into that perfectly, Charlie, completely deliberately, of course.
Of course.
The Cornishman coming in from the Berkshire Scotland Pavilion end.
Hashtag How's That Trade Nation. Well worth listening in for that on the the live stream coming up. So Sunday will be the first time that happens.
I hope you're enjoying our orange Trade Nation commentary box, and we'll get you on commentary cam later on. We'll show you. We're all surrounded in orange, as you can see our banner at the bottom. So Goldsworthy, that's a great shot down the wicket. Magnificent striking from Nipper, and that's the 6, and he's only gone 6 so far. Doubled his score with a glorious straight shot off Lewis Goldsworthy. Max Waller's got no chance, and he's now going to have a bit of fun here, is Max Waller, trying to reach the ball. Climb over the fence down below us and get the ball back. Max Waller's first game in a Somerset shirt this year. Yes, so it's nice to see him back in action. Not with the ball yet. I'm sure he will be soon. He's that one-handed catch off de Villiers, I will never forget. Middlesex T20 a couple of years ago, phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a special moment for Tom Lammonby as well, who was bowling that ball.
Well, it wasn't a very good ball, was it?
It was not a good ball, but it was AB de Villiers and getting him out, and it was fantastic. Did Tom Abel hit century in that match as well? Or
Middlesex, yes. Yeah, we replayed it in the rain actually on Friday, was it?
Yeah.
In the rain against Hampshire.
Yes, it was raining on Friday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Enjoyed that. Just after we spoke to Carl Abbott, we rewatched. That's a ridiculous strike from Tom Abel. The scoops, laps, and all sorts.
Great player to watch. Any format, great player.
Yeah.
Love watching Tom Abel bat.
Change of field now. Waller's up in the ring at mid-off. Shanky, big march into Lanka's down below us. He's at long on. We've got a deep mid-wicket. Full. That's a glorious stroke. That's 6 over extra cover. Goldsworthy's been taken to it. 2 6s in his first 4 balls. The left-hander and the right-hander. And this is actually a better start for Sri Lanka than Somerset have. They have lost a wicket. Don't forget Banton and Rue were 70 before the first wicket fell. But decent striking from these two. Lewis Goldsworthy, a bit of a gamble for Ben Green to bowl him in the power play. And there we go, he's got the wicket. The gamble has paid off. 2 6s, but leg bail has been knocked off. Leg bail's gone to Jack Brooks, a short fine leg. It's gone quite a long way actually from the left arm spin. And 31 for 2 by Sri Lanka, and that was a bit needless again. I talked about in the first innings, didn't I? James Drew, a couple of 6s in the over and then got out, and you think, well, T20 cricket, you keep going, but just at 2 6s, both batters, the right hander and the left hander, Nippon and Nishan. But now Nishan has to go.
Not the right shot for that ball, you felt. It was a risky shot off the stumps and didn't pay off. So Goldsworthy picking up a wicket. Making feel better after being carted around the ground a little bit before then in that over. Topsy-turvy over here for Lewis Goldsworthy. Banton just stepping nonchalantly over the broken stumps as he went to celebrate with Goldsworthy. They are slightly muted celebrations here from Somerset. I think they know they're taking on quite an inexperienced side. I don't want to call it men against boys because it's not quite that really, but the way Sri Lanka have played in their tour so far, it's not really caused too much of an issue for any of the county sides. But at 31 for 2, they're in the game. They're in the game here. As I say, in the T20 game, anyone can beat anyone. It just needs 2 players, a partnership, to really start being successful.
Well, we're talking about a partnership, 2 players, and we're talking about Sri Lanka. What a ridiculous scorecard that was. Bangladesh. The 2 short right-handed wicketkeepers, Liton Das and Mushfiqur Rahim. 2 quality players, but they're big hundreds in a scorecard that no one else contributed to. The third top score was 15 in the first innings.
It's ridiculous.
Sri Lanka went at 1 by 10 wickets in the end, but that first innings scorecard was quite ridiculous.
Yeah, always like Liton Das. I think he's a good player. I love watching him.
I remember him down here in Taunton actually.
Yeah, in the World Cup.
Yeah, I enjoyed that innings. I was actually a steward for that game.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I was at the game. I was lucky enough to get tickets on that one in the draw.
I can't admit, I don't think I missed many balls. I was a steward, but the crowd were very well behaved, so I just enjoyed the cricket.
There you go. You were watching the cricket. The crowd, you assume, were all right behind you. No, I'm sure you were keeping a close eye on them.
Yeah, cracking World Cup. That was great to see.
Bangladesh, was that West Indies, wasn't it?
It was, yes, indeed.
Yeah, great game. I think the biggest 6 of the tournament was hit in that game. In fact, there's maybe the 2 biggest, as Ben Green here is just...
was there another 100? Shakib Al Hassan probably scored 100 in that game, didn't he? He got 100 in most games that tournament.
He did play very well, didn't he? Yeah, I feel like that's a good shout.
Shai Hope might have got 100 players.
It was. I tell you who scored. It was the biggest 6 was Jason Holder over the Andy Caddick Pavilion. It's absolutely monstrous. And he just timed to perfection, and it just flew. You know how big he is.
Yeah.
What is he? He must be approaching 7 foot, Jason Holder.
33 off 15 balls.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's playing a miss there. And then who?
Shai Hope got 96. There you go.
Yes, that's right.
He only got 4 4s and 1 6. He just rotated the strike.
That's right.
Tickled
Yes,
it around,
I remember
didn't he?
thinking that when we were watching. We were sitting in the Somerset stand with my dad. I remember watching that, thinking, yeah, he's just playing
looked-
really well.
Yeah, but not really quick enough in the end.
No.
Bangladesh scoring quite comfortably.
Yeah, in the end. Yeah. I remember the atmosphere here. It's just there's so many Bangladesh fans.
Yes, the
Absolutely
Tigers.
Great. So this is going to be played over for 6. Nice shot, just using the pace on the ball from Green and helping it on its way, really. Going around the corner.
Talking of stewards, Stewart nearly got hit in the crowd then, and nearly took a blinder. I didn't think Ben Green is a quick man, but Stewart, that's flown, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't.
Can you tickle a pull shot?
Well, he sort of has there, hasn't he? He hasn't put any real aggression into it. Not really. So you see the replay there. So he's just sort of helping it, guiding it, putting a bit more lift under it. Green, what they do? Just, I mean, it's not a bad way to get off the mark. What's Green got this time? Oh, he's trying the same again, and it's good. That's a much nicer shot as well. And 2 members of the crowd have to move out of the way there as the ball flew. Oh, lovely bit of footwork there, just moving, giving himself that space to flick it over the leg side, deep backward square leg for 6 more. Look at
First
this,
2
just
scoring
shuffles
shots,
across.
6.
Oh, lovely shot. Yeah, moves to 12.
It's like Matt
Including
Renshaw
2
against
sixes.
Yorkshire.
Yeah, 100. What was it? 100 before lunch, pretty much. And,
6 off the mark, 6 to 50, 6 to 100.
yeah, I mean that was something quite special from 2018. 44 for 2 here. Well, Ben Green hit for 2 consecutive 6s. Bowls a slower ball. Clever. Might it go for 4? No, it won't, because Goldsworthy is there.
He's quick and he goes well.
Yeah, he gets around. It's not Goldsworthy, is it? Leonard out there. Someone's got.
No, I think he's got someone else's
He's got
top
someone
on.
else's top on. Right. I was
They're
going to say it
doing
doesn't
that
look
thing.
very much like Goldsworthy, but it's the wrong number.
And the left-handed thrower. There aren't many left-handers throwers
Yeah.
in this team, you see.
Yeah.
Only got 8.
Or is it James Rue? Might be James Rue. Is it?
Might be.
He's
Yeah, it
out
could
there
be
somewhere.
actually.
I think it's James Rue.
Left-handers,
Because
yeah.
I think Goldsworthy's.
Yep, agreed.
Closer up
Actually.
here. And so that one again is caught. He's feathered behind now.
Good catch.
Yeah, taking that nicely. So another wicket falls. Somerset again. Those celebrations, they're happy, but they're not, not ecstatic as this game moves on. 45 for 3, and that is well, again another funny over there. Loads of runs and a wicket. Just as Sri Lanka seem to be getting going, they lose a wicket, and Somerset peg them back.
Yeah, Nipandanjaya Pereira. Go on, fella. He only got 2 against Surrey. Just the 14 tonight, opening the batting.
It's quite unusual that Rue has changed his shirt because he didn't have a number or a name in the first when he was batting. So how come he's now got a number and a name? So he's obviously changed into.
Just got
just
long sleeve.
Obviously wanted a different shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just grab this one.
Now this new Wanidu, who's got these 2 6s off Ben Green. Serious shots actually. He only got 8 against Surrey in the T20, only 16 and 6 in the Red Bull game against Surrey. We did pick up a couple of wickets. He did get a 52 against Hampshire though. That was just a couple of weeks ago. And a 99 against Kent. So this man can bat. He's say they struggled on tour, but to get 52 against Hampshire, 99 against
Oh,
Kent
yeah,
is
yeah.
good going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's a bit of a danger man, already on to 12 off just a few balls.
Just reminded myself of the squad numbers. James Rue is wearing Peter Siddle's shirt, so that's why number 64 is on the pitch. So apologies for the confusion. The changing shirts out there. You don't tend to find that in a
No, we know it's not Peter
county
Siddle,
match.
but
Yeah. Oh, I mean, wouldn't it be great? Sort of bring Peter Siddle on
Yeah.
to face the Sri Lanka development squad.
no, that wouldn't be fair, would it?
Well, I mean, we've got Marshall Delanga in the side. I mean, that's quite a big ask. Although we haven't seen him bowl yet. I wonder whether we will, in fact.
So, quick ball that, actually, wrapping the pads. Is that going to be 4-leg buys, I think? Yeah, 4-leg buys. That's raced away to the third man boundary. And I don't think he was particularly quick, to be honest with you. Ned Leonard really getting that through.
I don't wonder how close that was to be, I guess. Maybe height was an issue. Maybe just missing the off stump.
Wasn't much
perhaps.
for appeal, was there?
No, it was. Obviously, yeah, I felt that it was.
Sam Whiteleg on YouTube says, stealing shirts as he does in school. Typical Rui. So Max Waller's very close to short extra cover. That's Ned Leonard straight leg side, and that's a poor delivery, you have to say. Oh, it's been given a 4-leg buy. I thought. Oh, I didn't see the tickle of the pad. I thought it was wide, to be honest with you.
Must have just. I mean, it would have.
Yeah.
I think it would have gone wide. It wasn't like it was on the stumps or something.
No, I don't think I'm being too harsh. No, yeah, that would have been wise, definitely. He'll still be kicking himself in the head, but he's lucky, really, in that those 8 runs don't go against his name. The extras column.
Yeah, I mean, that could easily have been 5 wides, couldn't it?
Yeah. Tom Banton, no chance, and they're picking it up from the Lordian Botham stand again. Quick run up from London. He's got his tail up, and that's a good single.
Yeah, he's looking quick, isn't he, here? Good to see, good to see.
What's your mileometer saying for Ned Leonard then?
Oh, it's not the quickest ball of the match, but then we still have got Marshall de Lange, who will probably take that accolade if he bowls full pelt. Or maybe against this side, he might think, oh, I'll just come on and bowl a few off spinners.
They're not there. Let's not. We keep saying this. They're going to go and chase.
They're going to win it. They're going to go and win it.
Aren't
And I should apologise in case there are many Sri Lanka fans probably
there are
listening in.
plenty on YouTube.
I'm sure there are, and I don't want to do down the side. I'm only thinking if by the time de Lange comes on, they might be sort of 8 or 9 down, if that's the case. But absolutely, they've got every chance of chasing this down.
Good fielding by Casey Aldridge in extra cover, throwing that very keen in the field at Somerset. He's throwing that at the non-striker, who's taking it well. Casey Aldridge also in this very long sleeve, long top. So plenty of bowling options. We say Aldridge not to bowl yet, de Lange not bowled yet.
Aldridge who's taking on the Grunewald number 5, which you're currently wearing. Big Grunewald fan is Harry next to it.
Well, that's a cheeky single to Max Waller. He's miles out, absolutely gone, barbecued, they'd say in South Africa. Didn't even try and dive on his batting. Max Waller actually, in hindsight, should have taken a second.
Yeah,
he's such a good fielder. He backs himself to pick and throw like that fielding masterclass we saw on YouTube with Abel and Waller. He just turned and hit the stumps, but really, he almost could have underarmed it. He could have skittled it. He was 5 yards.
He was halfway.
Out.
He was barely.
Not even that.
Barely halfway down the pitch. Really, it was miles out.
Banton couldn't have got to the stumps, in fairness, but Waller definitely could have set himself and thrown it more gently and accurately. That is a good flick-up shot. There's 2 men back on the leg side. He's done well to bisect them, actually. This Nwandu is flying. 2 sixes and now a 4 in between the 2 deep men on the leg side. And as I say, 99 and 50 against Hampshire and Surrey. Nwandu could be a key wicket. Nwanadu Fernando.
Yes, what's he on now? He's managed to get to 18 off 9 balls, is that? Going at 200 pretty much, strike rate.
Yeah, plays for Dambulla Giants, Sri Lanka under 19s, and Sri Lanka board president's 11. He's only 22, but he plays some decent profile cricket. Scored 2 List 800s. Seriously,
good talent. Well, who knows? Someone we'll see then, maybe in ODIs or other first 11 games for Sri Lanka. T20 World Cup, of course, coming up.
Yeah, only October, isn't it?
Which seems bizarre because there was one. It feels like yesterday we were watching a T20 World
bizarre.
Cup, but that's postponed. That one from COVID.
Plenty of 2020s played these days.
Yeah, Green. That looks slightly slow from Green, so taking the pace off.
Yeah, very good at that, isn't he, Ben Green? I think he's an underrated bowler. I'd like to see him used more in the first team. I'm glad he did have a little bowl against Kent.
Yeah.
But the way he takes the pace off and just wobbles it and nibbles it.
Well, this Somerset side just have such good options with the ball. We're talking here. It's just they've got pace, they've got consistency, they've got variety.
I mean, we say Ben Green's slower ball, but played against him in club cricket last year, and he was quick enough opening the bowling for Exeter.
Yeah.
Pace off compared to de Lange, perhaps, but not compared to most club cricketers.
And then you've got plenty of spin as well. Loads of options for Somerset. Van der Merwe brings a lot to the side, doesn't he? When he has his day with the bat, he can really pick up your wickets with the ball as well. Saves loads of runs in the field.
Tom Abel said he's his first man in his T20 team.
Gone! What a catch! What a catch, Ben Green. Well, we were just talking about fielding from Van der Merwe, but how about that from Ben Green? Return catch, came at him quickly, diving to his right hand outstretched, and it's another wicket to fall. And you could hear a sort of a gasp in the crowd there. They know they've seen something pretty special there, and there's again this sort of half-hearted celebration. I think you could be happy with that, Ben Green. That's going to look good on the replays. Absolutely
superb athlete, Ben Green. Done really well to get to that. Stick it out. It's going to hurt diving on the turf. Yeah. Rock hard pitch, but
takes the skin off your forearm or something. Maybe if you're sort of sliding along as you go, but no, nothing catch, just instinctive.
Skipper tonight, of course, Royal London skipper. Last year did pretty well in the Royal London Cup, actually.
Got injured, didn't he? Which was a bit of a shame for him, as given that opportunity to captain. Josh Davey in the end took on the captaincy.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, tricky to know where to put him. He batted 5 or 6 in the One Day Cup last year. He's opened the batting, the Bobblers Trophy. Him and Tom Lammerby, the 2 extra lads, batted well together. Struggled against Essex and Hampshire, not scoring more than 20 in the 3 first-class games he played this year, but useful all round with Ben Green.
So just getting onto his toes a little bit there, Mandara, and they'll come through just for a single for his first ball.
So, Nuwanadu, I think, is still the key man. Nuwanadu Fernandes. Got a bit of pressure on his young shoulders, but it's going to be a hard chase anyway. 194, that's good going. Requiring 10 and over.
Yeah.
And the rest.
Yeah, so what is it? Required run rate is 10.
Yeah.
Green again is in the air, it's driven out to just forwards a point. Yeah, George Bartlett comes around.
Can't keep him out of the action.
He's been busy tonight. 82 not out. If you've missed the batting innings for Somerset, really sort of set things up.
Remember, you can rewind on the YouTube stream. You watch all this game back, it'll be on there for a
Very good point.
seeable.
It's a sort of inside edge there, really, from Bandara. Brings in a single. 64 for 4 at the end of the over. And don't forget, a month today until the women's test match here, coming to Taunton. Very exciting news if you're a fan of the longer form of the game as well. South Africa, the visitors, starting, as I say, a month today, 27th of June. Tickets available now.
It's in my diary. Looking forward to it. Be a good one. Heather Knight, of course. Plymouth girl. Great to see her back in the West Country.
Absolutely. She'll be here on Sunday as well.
Yes.
With Western Storm in that side. But yes, she'll be here leading her team, leading her country at Taunton against South Africa. Great to see more test matches here. And only recently, of course, we saw the Ashes test match here, didn't we? And Waller for the first time now.
Yeah, great to see Max Waller have a little bit of a bowl today, having not been picked for the first T20 Blast game at Canterbury. He'll be disappointed. He was up here in the commentary box the other day, chasing Pete Trego for a round of golf. Seems to play more golf and tennis than cricket a lot of the time. Max Waller does love his sports. Very talented. Not just teabag, chucker into a cup and lockdown, but very talented sportsman. Using the ball as an array of flippers and douchers and top spinners and any ball under the sun, really. Seam up, arm ball. Flat delivery. Quick through the air, and that's a decent ball. That struggling with Bandara to play that.
A top spinner. I think maybe kicked on a little, perhaps. And
I find it hard to pick Max Waller's variation, to be honest with you.
It is, and I think batters feel the same.
I think half the time he doesn't always know exactly what's going on. He just changes it up, doesn't he? Can they get 2 here, hard into the leg side? Brilliant work as a pair there. Goldsworthy sprinted at the ball. Ben Green. No, James Rue.
It is Rue, although he's wearing Siddle's shirt.
Yes, that's the one again. And Ben Green backed him up well. Max Waller will be quite happy with that fielding.
Clearly quite a similar size to Goldsworthy. They do look similar.
Yes, left-handed throwers as well.
Yeah.
Short haircut. Liam Holly's watching from Gran Canaria.
Lovely.
Oh, that's a good shot. It could be out. No, it's not. Yes, Martin DeLange. It's not. Well, it's not really a good shot. It's straight to the man that's out, but good connection. Full toss from Max Waller, really. But you take them as a leg spinner. Martin Langer's got his second catch of the game, not yet to bowl, didn't have a bat, he's got 2 decent enough catches. That was slightly easier than the first one. Big hands, easy catch.
Yeah, and that's a very useful wicket for Somerset. As Iwanadu was going to show that he could hit 6s, hit 4s. He was finding gaps. He was looking pretty good, wasn't he? Straight away from the bat, but
crucial breakthrough, I reckon.
Yeah, and Sri Lanka now 5 down in the 8th over. We did wonder whether it was just too much, really. Seeing that big total, that scoreboard pressure does things, doesn't it? Makes you hit out, feel like you've got to get going soon. It's a big score.
Ah, yes, we did mention this earlier, didn't we? We were saying, does tonight count as a T20? Well, we reckon. We've checked with a few people. It does. So that is, Max Waller has now become the leading wicket taker in T20s for Somerset. So top effort by Max Waller. Big congrats to him. And yes, he's going to complete a decent first over that.
Absolutely fantastic record, Max Waller. What a servant to the club. Here he goes, big handshakes as he finishes off that over. And you think of some of the names that Somerset have got in that T20 bowling, some of the names over the last 20 years, which is the 20th anniversary. Just, you know, especially names like Alfonso Thomas come to mind, someone who bowled at the death
4 and
for
4.
years and years. And 4 and 4, of course, yeah. And so now Max Waller, who has played such an important part in this T20 setup for Somerset, seen them be very successful. Not quite won a cup in his time, but plenty of finals and semi-finals in his years as one of Somerset's key T20 players. So, yeah, and I've always enjoyed watching him. I think he's a really great character on the field. Adds loads, doesn't he, in the field? He's a great fielder as well as the bowling as well. So, congratulations, Max Waller. Yeah, so maybe sometimes overlooked as just how important he is to the Somerset side.
Well, Twitter has spoken as well, doing a big poll of the T20 Blast team, saying who's your best 4 players ever in the T20 Blast. We've got Luke Wright, Paul Nixon, David Woolley and Alex Hales, and people saying, where's Max Waller?
So just pushed out nicely, timed over towards Bartlett, who's at point, and they'll come back for a quick double. So 68 for 5. That moves up to 70 now for 5. The score after the 8th over and first ball of this one, as De Lange is starting off his night with the ball in hand. He's already taken a couple of catches, not required with the bat, although he can.
God, he whacked a few seconds, didn't he, at Taunton Vale the other day. That's
so
carnage.
Let's see what he's got here. Yeah, pace on it, definitely. There's a bit of a misfield there from Lewis Goldsworthy. Kicks the ball to Banton.
If these Sri Lankan batters went any further towards square leg, they'd be joining in with umpire Billy Taylor, really, to Lanka's bowling.
Moving out of the way, I think that's wise, to be honest.
That would
be doing it.
Man. Yeah, I'd be doing 100%. Yeah.
You see that ball coming at you at 90 miles, high 80s. Yeah, I can totally understand that. This one does manage to get bat on ball, playing out into the leg side is Lanka, and moving the score on to 72 for 5.
Some cracking games going on in the Blast elsewhere as well. Another 50 for Rizwan, his second 50 in 2 innings for Sussex.
Good signing.
Sharks.
Great signing, love Rizwan.
Felipe got 35 for Sussex. It's close in the Roses game, then he 32 off 15. Harry Brooklyn, another 50.
Interesting setup there as De Lange. This one does go down the leg side in the end, and they'll come through. It came off a bit of leg or something, certainly, as the umpire gives the signal. So 73 for 5 now. Still 122 runs required. So 10.8 is this. We're going to see that rocket up unless this really starts to the runs start flowing here. So there's going to be a single off a misfield. Hard to call that a misfield. Came in very quickly. Got a hand to it. Did Max Waller.
Yeah, very high standards he sets himself, hasn't he, Max Waller?
He looked disappointed, but I think he stopped some runs there. And it certainly helped, reduce that by 1, if not more. If it would have flown away, I'm not sure if it would have reached the boundary. De Lange is a bit expensive against Kent. We'll be looking to bounce back from that. And turn nicely, angling it down towards mid-wicket, and I'll come through for another run. It's the first De Lange overdone.
Yeah, he's got a T20 best bowling figures of 5 for 20 as much. De Lange got a T20 international. He's only played 6.
That was here, wasn't it? 5 for. You said he
Yeah.
picked up a 5 for here. If that was the 5 for 20,
Yeah.
so who that was against in the end? Is it Hampshire, I think, or something?
It might have been, yeah. I definitely remember it being last year. Of course, fruit of Glamorgan. Martin De Lange. Glamorgan also in action tonight. They're playing Surrey. Yes, they're playing Surrey. Anyway, Lewis Goldsworthy is going to bowl again from the just got the pavilion end. And Martin De Lange has done well to get all the way from bowling down to long off. He's put in some mileage. And we've got another shot. I reckon it's George Thomas below us with no name on his back. He was in the side tonight.
Yeah, it does look like George Thomas.
Looks like he's got trainers that have been potentially spiked, else he's just fielding in trainers. Maybe the spike doctor has been in action, the shoe doctor, but great to see George Thomas on the field. Shame we didn't get to see him with the bat tonight, but he's another cracking talent.
Yeah, good depth here at Somerset in their squads. What Somerset good at as well is keeping an eye on some of those good teams, the club teams in the county. They're good at picking up some of those players, got good connections. Not the case in every single county, that has to be said.
Good foot movement there from Bandara.
Oh, there's a chance of a run out here. If that had been direct, it would have been close. I think he might have been in. I think he might have
We
been.
can't send it upstairs here, but
We are the upstairs.
we are the upstairs, yeah. Just looking at some great other sort of local lads. Jake Lintott's got another wicket. Harrison, who's of local parts for Notts, the spinner, Calvin Harrison, he's hit the winning runs for Notts out. It's great to see Somerset former players and lads who are from the local area doing well, even if it's for other counties.
Yeah, absolutely. Always back whichever county they're playing for. If there's a Somerset bit of talent, whether they've played for Somerset or not.
So Lewis Goldsworthy, a left arm spinner in the Lintop mould, but the finger spinner, not the wrist spinner of Goldsworthy. Again, they go back and back foot punches. That could, no, good bit of fielding, sweeping round from deep cover by Ned Leonard, keeps that to 1 run.
I like watching Lintop bowl.
Yes.
Enjoyed him, watched a fair bit of him with Southern Brave alongside Craig Overton in the 100 last year. Of course, with Birmingham Bears as well.
This Goldsworthy's going to come into the left hand, and that's a chopped sort of bat into pad dot ball, and it's that time
Here
of
we
night.
go.
Sweet Caroline is going to have a little reverberation around the Cooper Associates County ground halfway through the second innings. Well, 10 overs through the second innings.
It's a sparse crowd, doesn't sound quite the same. Empty ground here tonight. That will go down much better on Sunday night for sure. You can get your tickets as well if you want to come and join us for that game. Somerset against Essex Eagles from 4 o'clock. But before that, Western Storm against Sunrisers. So we'll see some more from Marchant de Lange now. Oh, it's shortish and pulled, but not particularly well by Bandara. Just a single from that one.
Yeah, Bandara's, I'm sure I recognise the name Bandara. He's played 5 ODIs actually, 4 T20 internationals. Played against the West Indies, Bangladesh last year.
Field spread pretty wide on the leg side. Got to be careful, and you have a certain number obviously behind square on that leg side. So Somerset just checking. There's only 2 there, and just the 1 run from that ball. Run rate required 11.6. It's a very tall order this for Sri Lanka. But 81 for 5. Chances here to do better than they managed against Surrey, which will be pleasing to them.
Yeah, still got Gloucestershire on Sunday as is Sri Lanka Development 11. That's a quick ball from Marchant de Lange. Steaming in.
And the ball's actually running away to the boundary now. A bit of a wayward throw from Ben Green, which Jack Brooks, veteran, will have to go and collect for his bowler, who is Marchant de Lange. Always protect the bowler from that sort of stuff, don't you? Never go out running, never let them go and do that stuff. As this one goes through the batter, that is Bandara. And there is no run. Bit too quick there, pace on from Marchant. 82 for 5. Beautiful evening now, the sunset. Pinky skies ahead of us, pinky orange skies over the Quantocks. Wispy clouds, lights on. Train pulling away from Taunton Station. Marchant de Lange is in, and this one again through. There's a lot of pace here. A lot of fishing going on, bat away from the body. As Bandara is wary of that pace, and fair play.
I guess they know enough about cricket, these Sri Lankan lads, to know who Marchant de Lange is.
Yeah.
And when 5 bowlers are bowled, the 6th bowler is the quickest of the lot.
Absolutely, yeah. Which perhaps isn't typical from what you'd expect. You expect the quicker one maybe up front, as this one is just angled nicely down to 3rd area, where the man wearing Peter Siddle's shirt picks it up, James Rue.
I wonder if Peter Siddle knows that his top's being worn by James Rue. I wonder if Siddle's in the building. I know Matt Renshaw's off on his travels. He's been looking at Harry Potter world and
so
enjoying the sights.
he's having a great time over here, isn't he? He's playing for Somerset, but also taking in a lot of the country. I think he's
Why not?
his partner's here as well, isn't she?
Yes.
So they're doing a lot of sort of holiday together.
I wonder
Great.
if Siddle goes with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Siddle does a lot of cycling, from what I can see on
Okay.
social media. He goes out cycling a lot. His,
You got him on
stories-
Strava, have you?
Would love to have Peter Siddle on Strava, but I'm not sure I'd let him see my stats or average speed when I'm out cycling. But
You know, I'd
yeah,
race.
no, he tends to put a few stories up on Instagram. So he waited for that and then missed it. Max Waller just getting a variable bounce on it or something there, just tricking the batter Bandara into missing it.
Short ball from Waller, smashed through the covers, and Ben Green can't get near enough to that, and that's a good shot. Quick hand speed from Bandara to get it through the cover region for 4 runs. Ned Leonard actually on the boundary. Ben Green was at short extra cover, nowhere near it really, and Ned Leonard lets it go past him. Waller's going even shorter again. It's lucky that was a worse ball than the previous ball. Funny the way it is sometimes. The shorter balls they try and overhit and don't get hold of it, and then the not quite so short balls they back foot punch beautifully. Yeah, the Roses match going down to the wire. Both Culla Cadmore and Harry Brook are both on 60s, needing 12 off the final over.
Doable.
Max Waller into the left-handed Manelka. He's only on 5. Don't know, that made me think of Nicholas Anelka. I'm not sure.
That's a name I've known
French
for a
one.
while.
Yeah. Oh, and he's gone for a switch hit. Oh, I don't know if you can call it a switch hit. He just went right-handed. Very early switcheroo of the hands.
Wasn't
Pulls it, really, doesn't he?
quite often when you see those, they're all sort of in one motion, all very slick. I wouldn't describe that shot as particularly slick.
No, that's a fair comment.
But I mean, fair play, trying something different.
That's a more orthodox cricket shot, but good bit of fielding by George Thomas, running across with his blue trainers on. Do you reckon he's just rocked up? Wasn't actually going to play, and he's
Been at work all day and he forgot
Yeah.
to bring his trainers to work.
I can't see any spikes on him.
No.
No name on the back of his shirt. He's not even Nick Peter Siddle's shirt. Anyway, Max Waller's going to bowl. That looks more of a legs break, and there's an inside edge chop down to James Hildreth.
Might explain why Rue's wearing Siddle's shirt if he said, right, you can have my old shirt I wore for the first innings. Not sure I'd be willing to swap. Take on someone's shirt who'd been wearing it for the first innings. I mean, that is not great.
There we are. Those are the not quite Eddie Byram's vibrant wheels of last year, but
He's not wearing white socks. Did I just get a flash of white? Please tell me he's not wearing white socks.
Is that pet
Come on,
peeve of
George.
yours?
Well, against the white, is he wearing white? There's a flash of white, or is it just the top of the
Well, the
trainers?
trousers are long enough that you can't
Yeah.
see. He's probably got March of the Lang's trousers on.
He's wearing white socks with black trousers and blue trainers. I mean, someone needs to tap him on the shoulder.
It's when
Say,
I'm
"Look, mate,
last to get in the kit bag for a T20 game,
Yeah.
and you get the extra large trousers. And
Goldsworthy. Oh, this one's gone into the air and will be taken by the man we've just been talking about in the white socks and blue trainers. It's George Thomas who will take that catch. So caught. I guess it's caught sub. Depends what the rules are these two teams
Yes.
have come up with before the game. If they're allowed to
will he get the credit
swap
of the
like that,
catch?
yeah, it will either be caught sub or caught. We think George Thomas, and there's another wicket gone down. 91 for 6 here in Sri Lanka. Not much on that one, was it? Really just a top edge, pretty simple catch for Thomas, who still got to take him, but no sun in the sky now makes it a bit easier, I think, under the lights as well, particularly when the sky is still a bit light. Probably quite a nice way to catch it, isn't it? Coming down, wasn't too high or too hard.
Swing for the heavens kind of time here for Sri Lanka development, really. 7 and a bit overs left. Run rate's up above 13 now. Wallalaga, Junith Wallalaga, who did have a little bowl in the first innings. 4 overs, in fact. He got 2 for 32. The best bowler, really. So
Decent figures.
I feel like Carly Rae Jepsen keeps the fans on their toes.
Harry's had his MP3 player plugged in all night.
Yeah, it's Spencer's at the interval.
It's going to be given as a wide. I think fair enough. It's a bit of a reach, wasn't it? Batter deliberately pulled out, I think, thinking that it was going to be too wide. Left arm at Goldsworthy in again. That's better. And cut away. I'll pick up just the one from that one. Did we get a confirmation. Is it court sub or is it... let's have a look. If they've not quite updated on my system yet with the wicket. Court sub, it says on the screen. Brackets G. Thomas.
And now that man's been moved again. He's gone from point to square leg. Tom Banton's moving the field as the wicket keeper. Flat shoes Thomas doing plenty of moving. Everything's going to him.
Now, what's the batter dropped there?
No, it's Banton's glove, isn't it?
Is it Banton's glove? Oh, yes. That's right. Actually, it just flung it off his hand. It just looked like it came off the batter there. I couldn't work out what had fallen out of his pocket or something. But yes, it was Banton flinging his glove off to pick up the ball. Look out, partner. This is coming straight at you as this is hammered down the ground. Oh, there's a slip as the throw comes back. And a roly-poly. Oh, well, that was fun to watch. The fielding on the boundary there. Have we got a... the best stylistic effort of the night, I think, at the moment. Goldsworthy in again. This one goes over the head of the bowler. Could be caught. Will be caught. Well taken in the end. Sliding as he took it. And that is the end of Wellalaga. And Somerset pick up another one. 95 for 7 here. And the Sri Lanka innings is folding fast in Taunton.
Great catch by the skipper Ben Green, diving in. Running across the Lord Ian Botham stand, set the standards. Slid early, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he didn't really slide. I'm not sure how wet it's not. We haven't had much rain today, so
not the sprinkler out, was he?
No, so he kind of, you see when he slid, it sort of stuttered a bit, but took the catch, which was needed, and that is the end of Wellalaga, who was trying to force the issue a bit, and the run rate is unachievably high now for this Sri Lanka side, but they'll feel like they've done pretty well. 95 for 6. What did they make against? Sorry, 105 was it? So they'll...
Yeah, 95 for 7 now. Yeah, I think they're
95 for 7 now, yeah. Sorry.
The run rate would be more of an issue, I guess. Less of an issue if they had more wickets in hand, I guess.
Yeah.
Is a big issue, isn't it, really?
Yeah, that's right. And this one fired up into the air, and that one will go for 4. Nice shot. Bandara, who managed to cross over in the time the ball was in the air, so he moves to 26, and the score to 99 for 7. End of Lewis Goldsworthy's over. He's picked up another wicket.
Meanwhile, in the Roses match, down to 6 off 2 balls, and Shadab Khan's got a full toss, and fielder's run in and lost his trousers below him. So it's not Josh George Thomas with interesting uniform or cricket kit. There's a bit of a...
Just do your trousers up. I don't understand how it ever happens. If your trousers are tight enough, they won't fall down when you slide.
You're a man that speaks from experience. He's sliding regularly around the field. Max Waller then to bowl again from the MET end. Marks.
Oh, I like that. We've been wondering how to shorten it because it is quite a long...
Oh, sorry, you haven't seen my scorecard. Always MET and RE for me.
MET.
And River End. That's my
system. So the MET being the Marcus Edward Trescothic Pavilion end. So you've missed out a bit. You've added in the Edward.
I could just call it MT, really.
Yeah, the MTP.
MTP. Most. Oh, good shot there down to George Thomas again. Sounds like MVP, most valuable player.
What's the T, though?
Most terrible player?
No, we can't have that for Marcus Trescothic.
No.
Terrific. Most terrific player. Yeah.
Right, Waller's going to have Goldsworthy coming at short mid wicket to the right-hander. That could be an LBW shot. Yes, he's not thought long about that.
Plump.
Straight out, and 8 down, and Sri Lanka development are looking like they're not going to bat out their overs here.
Yeah,
struggling.
It will be a bit of a shame for Sri Lanka not to get to the full 20. But to be fair, they're taking on a stronger Somerset side than perhaps we expected them to field tonight. So they've come up against not just a strong Somerset side, but Somerset, in the terms of the whole country, are a strong T20 side.
And
so they've come up against
Surrey are blooming strong. If you're choosing their tour, they played some of the strongest T20 sides. I mean, we don't know who Gloucester are going to play on Sunday because Gloucester will have played 2 games potentially.
Yes, I think they're
playing
right.
tonight, but by Sunday, so it's
rest
injury, and they've had so many fast bowling injuries over Gloucestershire that ridiculous.
Well, even their overseas, they came in to replace the overseas. Injured.
And they're down to their second team T20 at Taunton Vale the other week had a much stronger bowling lineup than the Somerset first team because bowlers could bowl 4 overs but couldn't bowl for 4 days. Was the issue with the Bristol County Championship game.
Right.
But anyway, we're going to see Ranjika come in to join Bandara. Bandara on to 27. We say he got ODI and T20 experience. Good player, but Needs some real magic
Yeah.
from him here. He's T20 best is 101 not out. He has got 100 in first class cricket as well, but he's not going to need quite that many, but he's going to need a few fireworks. And that's a pretty good shot first ball. It's only going to be one to George Thomas, but got hold of that as he ran Chica.
Waller with that second wicket tonight is now clear. He's got some what's the word? Space between him and the.
Yes.
The other. Who's second in that list out of interest? Who's now second? Who was first?
Before we look, we should have a guess, shouldn't we? We have some
Oh,
trivia. I reckon Alphonso Thomas would be up there, wouldn't he?
My guess would be Thomas.
That,
Just because
yeah.
the length of time he played for Somerset and the amount of wickets he took, that would be because.
Consensus in the commentary box. That's a great shot. I mean, Max Waller's saved the umpire's life there.
That will hurt.
That's Waller's. It's a chance, yes, but ridiculously hard chance, even by his standards.
He's not trying not to show his new look. That is going to hurt.
I tell you what, he's very glad that's the last ball of the over, because to grip, I'll tell you myself as a leg spinner, when you've been whacked in the hand and you then got to try and grip it, is a nightmare the next ball. So yeah, he's got 6 balls to hopefully hide and not touch it again for another 6 before he might have to bowl again.
See, the umpire did actually come over and sort of pat him on the back, almost like a thanks very much.
Yeah. And phenomenal, the Roche's matches finish as a tie.
Wow.
Great to see.
You do, and in T20 cricket, in the shorter forms, you are more likely to get ties, aren't you? Just because of the lower scores in total. When you're talking 700 runs in a championship game, you're not likely to get 2 teams on exactly the same. But it does bring the tie into it way more in T20s, and it's great when it happens. Drama, I'm sure there'll be plenty of bragging in the either side of the Pennines tonight. One way or another, some teams will find a way of saying, well, we should have won because of this, actually, and the other team will say, well, actually, I think you'll find we beat you at, scored more boundaries or whatever it happens to be. De Lange. And this one is dug out, but more than anything, you're getting in the way of each other.
Too friendly, isn't he, De Lange? Too polite.
Yeah, he just walked to it as well. There's no real...
I think he let him have that single, really. He could have... Well, you don't want to mess with Martin De Lange's shoulders, really. There's a shoulder charge between it. Even a batter with a helmet and bat in hand. I think you're going to go flying back because if you crash into Martin De Lange, but...
He is a huge guy, is Martin De Lange. But such a lovely guy as well, by all accounts. A, sort of gentle giant,
yes,
they say,
gentle giant. Yeah, the BFG, that story in the press day when he was helping the media team who were carrying benches to a penny and he picked up one on each shoulder.
Again, full of ball, dug out a bit and they'll pick up a single. De Lange here looking to mop up the tail. I think he's a couple of wickets away from doing that. 105 for 8. So they are now at the same level they managed against Surrey. So if they can get a few more runs, they'll feel like there's been a bit of an improvement there, I guess. Higher scores. Oh, he's just swung the bat at that. In fact, he's going to pick up a boundary here. No, it's going to plug in the field a little bit. Oh, it's good fielding on the boundary. And Bandara, who was thinking that he'd done enough to get a 4, actually hasn't. I think it's Bartlett there who's managed to just keep it in the field of play. But they move on beyond their total against Surrey now, Sri Lanka. So small wins for them. Improvements, at least. De Lange in again. This one shorter ball, fired out, and it's going to actually find the area through extra cover for 4 runs. It's actually a really nice way of playing that shot, Bandara. He's fired it through. Sort of swiveled on his foot there as he played it. 111 for 8. Nelson for 8 now. If we just see the replay of that one, you can sort of see just clears the leg a little bit. Bat flows through the line of the ball. Firing it out. Piercing that gap between cover and extra cover for 4. Full toss, low full toss.
I just listened to the scorers next door. They've got the door open. It's quite nice to hear their chat sometimes. Bit harsh, saying it's agricultural mow on the system they're using to input the shots. I think that's a little harsh.
I think it is a little. I thought it was quite. If you're going to face Martin De
seen
Lange, you've got to do something. And,
I've seen worse agricultural mows.
I've seen worse ways of dealing with Martin De Lange, considering this is, was he the number 6 for Sri Lanka development side? This is someone who won't have come up against too many this powerful, this quick, you'd have thought. He's going to try a different angle here, De Lange. Silhouette of the Quantox now, that light going The lights of Taunton showing up around us. This is a great shot again through cover. Nicely played by Ransika,
Good bat speed.
who's on to 6. Yeah, really
Swinging the hands through.
got enough of it to really smite it down towards the cover boundary for 4. So a bit expensive that from Marchant de Lange. 116 for 8 with 5 overs remaining.
It's quite cool. See, it's almost like the northern lights, the way they're shining up over the contacts there. The red sky at night, Shepherd's Delight.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, good weather weekend. A lot of club teams will be playing tomorrow, and then Somerset, of course, in action on Sunday as well. Very much looking forward to that. Hoping the forecast stays good.
So, we've got a few overs remaining, but only 2 wickets remaining. And Jack Brooks is going to come back on for his 3rd over. Did bowl from the river end for the first 2 from that end of the innings. He's now going to try his luck from the MET Pav end. Marchant de Lange has done long off all day long, actually, in front of Gimlet's Hill.
He's been good down there, taking a couple of catches.
Big man, you always want to have your tallest fielders in those sort of spots.
Yeah, get
that
that
extra
up to the
foot.
boundary.
Jason Holder's your prime example, Kyron Pollard. That can save you the crucial catches, and that's would have been a wide if he stood where he was, but he sort of shuffled back and flicked that down too fine leg for 1 run. Jack Brooks almost following him.
Yeah, lovely evening. Lovely still evening in Taunton now. Feels like the wind might have died down a little bit. The flag's still flowing, though, and birds circling around. Guess they're heading back for the night. Don't know what they do overnight. What do seagulls do overnight? They must have nests.
Eat chips, I reckon.
Yeah.
They don't sleep, just keep on
Actually,
eating.
Friday night in Taunton, they're probably just waking up.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of chips to eat tonight. Might be giving us a wide note. Good wider ball there.
Gonna let him get away with that one. Great to see people still engaging on the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments. Plenty of people still watching and enjoying, possibly more so actually. Some of the T20 Blast games are finishing. We've got people tuning in for the end of this one. The headband warrior Jack Brooks, formerly of Yorkshire. That's a wide
That will
ball.
be a wide, yeah. Got to be. Yeah, you got to give him a chance to hit him, Jack. You can't. Trying to get the wide Yorkers in, isn't he, here? And just going too wide, or certainly trying to get the wider, fuller balls in.
Good use of the feet, but no. Oh, he's got the wide actually. So Jack Brooks is losing it a little bit here actually.
He's trying those variations, not quite getting his line right at the moment.
Some decent strike rates if you look down the Sri Lanka scorecard, but no one's really stayed there long enough.
Well, that is the problem, isn't it? Because of such a big total they've been chasing, they had to come out of the blocks firing really.
13 and 14 off 8 balls is not enough from your top 6 really.
No, that's better. That's what he's trying to do.
Big swing, mind. We saw that boundary got through cover of Marchant de Lange. The quick wrist, the quick bat speed. If he does connect, he's going to fly through 3rd man for 4 even with the man down there.
Nice shape up there. Air batting looked really good. I guess all these cricketers look good when they're air batting. They've all got the techniques. It's just whether you can apply that when the ball's flying at you at 80 odd miles an hour. Let's tries again. That's going to be all right. I think they'll come through for a single because it was not taken cleanly by Banton. He had to move quite a lot to his left.
So Amshi De Silva, the number 11 for Sri Lanka. The only one left in the shed. So Bandura is on to 37 not out. Run rate required is it 12s? I mean, they're not miles away. It's not going to be a hiding.
17.3.
Oh, I've misread that. Trying to give Sri Lanka a chance, Charlie. You've written them off since the first over. I'm trying to get on their Sri Lankan bandwagon here. And
I mean, if they can from this point, if they start hitting 17.3 and over, I will happily get a tattoo of the Sri Lankan flag on my arm.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that if they from this point are getting to 195, then
Bandura is a player. I'm backing Bandura as he goes for 2. Can he get the 2?
So you're backing him to chase this down?
No, I'm just backing him to get a little 50 not out. A little red ink.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. I'm not. I don't want them to get thrashed.
They've not. If I was to be one criticism of them, they've not really run between the wickets quickly. They're mostly under 23.
Yeah.
They're fit young athletes, but they've not sprinted between the wickets. They could have run 2 a couple of times. Could have pushed it.
Yeah.
Another Netflix equivalent special, Behind the Wire in season 2. Get on your YouTube channels. get on and have a look at Ollie Sale's great camera work. He does give it to his mates Tom Lammonby and Ben Green occasionally. But yeah, there's going to be a few more special episodes coming soon. We saw the pre-season camp in the Middle East, in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. That was a good watch. A bit of special stuff from Canterbury. I've heard a few rumours, a pretty good trip to Canterbury. They're late night coach back Wednesday night. They're playing in Kent again tonight. There's a bit of sea mist, not sea mist. What they have in Kent? You know the fog they had last year.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
the 100. Do you remember that?
It was the middle of summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just I could barely see anything. It was fog coming in, and the Canterbury as well.
They had that again tonight.
Green in. This is ramped straight to Martian to Lanka.
3 catches.
Dear, oh dear, it's not very good, to be honest. You've got to make sure, if you're going to do that shot when you've got players behind you, you've got to make sure you really get over them, and they didn't get enough on it, and it's a wicket. First ball in the over for Ben Green. Martian Delanga, as Harry said, startled there, has picked up his 3rd catch of the night, and Somerset 1 wicket away from winning this one.
He's not the man you expect to take 3 catches.
No.
A Craig Overton and Max Waller maybe, but what's Banton celebrating? I think they're all baffled that he's got 3 catches. I mean, 2 of them were easy. The first one was pretty good from mid-on, running back of his head, but just bigging up Bandara. He has batted well, to be fair, but he's just got nothing to work with. I think if someone else was going the other end, you know, he could have got them close, but as you say, you can't win a game on your own very easily. You know, even Ben Stokes needed trusty Jack Leach at the other end, didn't he?
Yeah, and I don't want to come across like I'm being too harsh or too critical of them, because they are, as you say, inexperienced players. They're here to develop themselves. It's in the name of the team, so it's great to see these matches taking place. And best of luck to these players. You know, hopefully we will see these in the future playing. We'd love to see them do well, get into Test sides, ODI sides, and T20 sides for Sri Lanka. But that inexperience, just showing a bit, I think, is really what is being shown here. Is Ben Green. Just is being forced out to the leg side by Amshi.
We should say, actually, with Sri Lanka in town, that Mahela Jawarna, I loved it when he was T20 player. It was his birthday yesterday. I should say happy birthday to the former Somerset man, him and Chris Gale. I mean, that was pretty exciting. Very different players.
Oh,
you couldn't get 2 more contrasting batters in T20 cricket. Both so great to watch, though.
Yeah, I loved that. There's a picture I've got, one of my favourite pictures, a selfie with me and a few mates with Mahela Jawardena. Love it. What a great guy. Yeah. No, has that gone through his legs? What's it done there? So it comes through for a single. We've just been told his birthday's today. Harry said it was yesterday.
Oh, I thought I saw it on the Twitter.
You've gone a day early.
Hang
on a minute. Isn't it? If he's in Sri Lanka, they'll already be in tomorrow.
That's the hours ahead. Oh, that's what
he's just working with. Just working with the time difference. That's all.
45-year-old.
Here comes Green again. This one, is there a touch on it? No. 123 for 9. Chasing 195. Always looked a very tall order for this Sri Lankan development side, but they've battled well to their 123 really against a strong Somerset side. Bit of inexperience here and there, but some nice shots amongst it as well. Green in, thinks about dropping and running there, Hampshire, but there's no real chance for it as Green fields off his own bowling. And this game just 1 wicket away from finishing, also 3 overs after this ball. Green in. It's in the air. Whoa, it looks like it's going to be safe. There'll be a chance. Maybe no. It's going to go all the way for 4. It just dropped in front of the boundary, and it looked for a while, didn't it? Is it Goldsworthy there? Looks like he was in business for a little while, didn't he? But in the end, there was enough on it to take it just beyond the fielder, dropping between him and the boundary road. So 4 runs there. 127 for 9 with 3 overs to go.
Bit of a teaser that for Lewis Goldsworthy, wasn't it? Just over his head. I mean, he could have been marching Delanger's on marching Delanger's shoulders, and he still wouldn't have caught it. But running back, he got close, but not quite there. And Jack Brooks looking to wrap up the Somerset victory that's impending here. There's a few little close finishes at the end of the T20 Blast games tonight. Essex requiring 19 off 12. That's got a bit of interest with Somerset, of course, with them the visitors. The team Somerset played on Wednesday, Kent, against the team they played on Sunday. As that's the shot we saw earlier. This time Ranchika goes again quite slow motion, trying to reverse pull Jack Brooks. But there's a short third man. There's a deep third man and deep point. So it's really not the right shot for the field. Because even if he connects, there's only 1 run.
It's a risky shot for 1, isn't it? Unless you really nail it between those two fielders.
For sure, if he goes the other way, then they're both up in the ring.
Yeah,
It seems
yeah.
slightly odd. This time he whacks it out orthodox, sort of outside thick edge to deep point for one run.
Yeah, I think that's. I think orthodox is just about legitimate. There, it's a nice big old hoik, wasn't it? Really
Orthodox
just-
for a lower order.
Yeah, yes, perfect. That is exactly what it is. It's a lower order orthodox sort of swing.
Swing, yeah.
Yeah. Horizontal swing of the bat.
So Paul Walter coming into Sunday with a bit of form. He's 43 not out currently for Essex. So he'll be a
decent player.
left-handed day.
Bowl
That's
him.
an emphatic victory for Somerset. Both bails go flying in the air. They and the ball all finish white on the ground in front of Tom Banton. And Jack Brooks has wrapped up fairly comfortable innings for Somerset. 67-run victory. And it's been a really good run out to give bowlers overs in the legs. Batters have a bit of a hit. George Bartlett, of course, the star of the show. 82 not out of 38 balls with 2 4s and 9 6s. Sri Lanka never really got going. 38 for Ashan Bandara, their top score. But it's been a cracking night of T20 cricket. Tom.
Really enjoyed that. Really nice to see T20 cricket back here in Taunton after last year. And looking forward to the game on Sunday as well. But well done to Sri Lanka development side. They are an inexperienced side. They're a young side coming up against. Actually, they've picked some pretty strong teams to face. So they're going to probably have quite a tough tour. But great to see T20 cricket. Somerset will be pleased with the runs and the bowling that they managed and achieved. Especially George Bartlett. For me, probably the pick of this game is seeing him do well. Great to see Brooks pick up a wicket at the end and Waller take that place as Somerset's all-time top T20 wicket taker. But for me, Bartlett, the best bit of news coming out of that is it looks like he's very much in some sort of T20 form. But yeah, it's been a great night. Really enjoyed it, and looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, so don't forget Western Storm and Somerset versus Essex in the T20 double-header from 11 o'clock on Sunday. Do get a look on the Somerset website. You can read reports, you can watch video highlights, you can rewind through this match tonight on the YouTube channel. Plenty of ways to stay in touch, Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, we'll listen to me and Charlie on future commentary games from the Cooper Associates County Ground. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back with you again soon.
Sussex on Wednesday and Wimbledon on Friday. Well done, Somerset. Our considerations once again to Sri Lanka. I believe it is well received. We are up to date with the last games this evening. Let's start first of all with the game of the County Ground, where the Hampshire Steelbacks beat Corral by 31 runs. The North Group was in the North Group match tied this evening in Old Trafford. The Rotors derby there, Lancashire and Yorkshire match tied. Both sides reached 183 in their 20 overs. Still playing at the Cornwall Ground, finishing 51 runs from 3.1 overs to the determined pairs. Let's have a look at the South Group now, with these balls still playing, finishing 16 from 1.3 overs to the Middlesex. The Essex Eagles require 6 runs from 1 over to beat the Kent Spitfires at the Spitfire Ground. And the game between Gloucestershire and Sussex, on the way of Gloucestershire, they won by 41 runs. And finally, on the Kia Oval tonight, Surrey beat Glamorgan by 4 wickets. As you'll be ground this evening, we'd like to thank you very much for your support this evening. I hope you have a very safe journey home. We look forward to welcoming you back here to the Cooper